Twin Galaxies Live, where today is a very, very special day because we have two famous voice actors on our show. It is our pleasure to introduce Courteny Taylor. You know her from, oh my God, Mad Max, Destiny, Resident Evil.
Mass Effect.
Holy crap, Mass Effect.
And most importantly, on everybody's radar right now, Fallout 4.
Fallout 4.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You have all the information that we all want to know.
I do.
And
no one
so-
is killing me until...
In about 2 hours, you're going to tell us the entire game.
Yep.
Right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're ready. You guys listening?
Or else we won't let you
I'm
leave.
going to share the end. That'd be amazing.
Spoilers. And of course, JP, I almost screwed that up. JP Karliak. I almost gave his real name for all these stalkers out there. JP Karliak, who is Wile E. Coyote in Wabbit on Cartoon Network.
Yes.
Also a fellow Skylander with Courtney. A franchise that, as I was saying before the show, not doing poorly. Skylanders. No.
No,
of
Skylanders was the original Disney Infinity / the original Amiibo / the original Lego Dimensions as well.
Yeah.
I believe Skylanders started off
Started it
all that toy
All the
putting
objectiness.
All
Putting
the parents going,
toy.
not another one.
Precisely.
You know what though? All of those things make Christmas so easy for uncles like me, because I'm just I know what they want.
Yep.
They just want. I just text the mom and dad. I'm like, which ones don't they have? And it makes shopping.
And thankfully, there's a new one every year.
Oh yes, exactly. It's only it's like a $13 gift, so it's not
clockwork.
too bad.
Not too bad.
So
And
we
it's
say
very-
keep doing it.
Yeah, exactly. You guys keep a close eye on the chat where we're going to be posting the bots that will carry with them the important information of Courtney and JP's social media. That one fired twice, so you have no excuse not to follow
Oh yeah,
immediately.
It's so nice. We shared it twice.
And the
Exactly.
Cubs won.
I was getting the updates from the champ in the chat. He was keeping me updated while I was playing Nintendo games. He's like, the score, it's 9th inning, 3 outs to go. So the apparently the Cubbies did just win.
As predicted in
As
Back to the Future. Yes, you
It's
saw that
gonna
as well. Amazing.
No doubt.
Tasha says hello. So does Orbital OBS. And it looks like That's Kyle is in Skype 4.
Yep.
There we go. I don't know if we have
No
Skype
audio.
4.
Look at them,
No
sexy.
audio.
No audio in the Skypes,
So they'll be able
which
to
is not a bad thing.
they'll be able to ask via the magic of video, so you'll hear their voices instantly as if they were transported here, and everyone else will be able to get your questions
That's right.
in.
Fix your hair. Fix your hair.
Get your questions in via chat. But we'll kick it right off now. Nick is playing Mad Max, just one of the numerous titles, Courtney, that you provide voices for. Can you tell us a little bit about the character you play in Mad Max? Just because it's recent, but then I'm sure we'll
Yes.
get into the Mass Effect stuff.
Yes. I play Hope. She is a sort of badass damsel in distress in the wasteland. She has a fan made of razors,
Nice.
which I totally want in real life. And
That's a dangerous cosplay.
It is.
yes, it is. It's also, if it gets too hot, then you end up
Clearly.
slicing. But she's sort of the love interest for Max. And I did the motion capture for her as well, which was super
Wow,
fun.
motion capture. Now, interestingly enough, first of all, it is live, guys. We do have things like this happen. I'm going to turn the volume down on this. You're just going to have to read
I'll
the,
turn it down.
You're just
You
going to have to
do
read the
that.
captions, Nick,
I know how to do it.
like a literate person. I used to work for a motion capture studio, and it was fascinating, watching that whole process, because it's not like acting in a film where you have the world to interact with. You really have to be in full make-believe mode.
Yes.
Was that natural for you? Was it a challenge? Did it feel silly at any point? We had a rapper come in who refused. We put him. It was his own video game. I'm not going to name the rapper. He put on the balls. He put on the.
Video.
Oh, no.
Narrow this down
I
quickly.
think
Yeah,
it's
you
like
could
two,
you
so.
could definitely narrow it down.
I'm
quickly.
gonna guess Def Jam Vendetta.
He put it all on. He went, oh hell no, and then he took it all off and made us hire somebody to come in and play him. So
The suit is not for everyone.
it's
The suit is
Especially when you're a rapper and have street cred.
Yeah, it's
And you
very
brought
tight.
your-
Picture you went on Twitter.
And you brought your posse.
It's very it's very tight.
Well,
There's
how
a
many
lot
years
of,
ago was that?
You know,
What? How,
That your story about the rapper.
all right, we're
Just how
gonna.
many years ago?
just out him.
No,
We're
no, just-
actually on a mission to.
No, I'm
to-
not. No, because I think like if that was like 10 years ago, it's like I don't want to be seen in this. But like now, it's like that's the selfie that you want, you know?
Yeah. Put the
Yeah.
balls on my face.
Yeah, like rapper or not.
Yeah.
That's the running every mocap. Like the first day of mocap is the balls on the face joke.
It's just, and yeah, it's a selfie. You gotta, because then it shows you're doing something in that medium,
Yes.
and everybody's like, "You're in video games." Oh, it's like, "Oh, you're on that show." Okay, but you're in video games. Like I can play as you. Like that's cool now.
Yeah. It looks like we might have an audio situation. Me?
JPK.
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 How do you like that?
Oh, thanks. So,
Oh, he wasn't mice.
JPK's getting his mic. Damn it, Ice-T. Damn it, Dr. Dre.
I think that it would have been
bingo.
I don't think it would have been Snoop Dogg, and I don't think it's Ice-T, because
I feel
Ice-T is
like
the
Snoop
coolest
would
guy
do it.
ever.
Snoop would totally be on
I feel like
board with
Snoop
it.
would be like, I don't care. just
Snoop
be
got
like,
slimed
yeah.
on Nickelodeon. He-
And he's been in the wrestling
game.
ring.
Yeah.
He has fun. The same thing with Ice-T. He loves video games more than anything, and he's in plenty of them. He's in like Gears of War and like he
Yeah.
did lots of
That was
stuff.
awesome.
Yeah, I feel like he would be totally happy to
It
I'll
totally
narrow it
was.
down.
ride on the suit.
Totally was ludicrous.
Wasn't Snoop. Wasn't Snoop. Wasn't 50 Cent.
Was it Luda?
Wasn't Luda.
Luda would get in it for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Luda
I
Luda
feel
would.
like
be
that
all
guy
about
would
that.
be like, I'm in first.
I love that I love this.
I know.
I
Who
feel
is
like
it?
we're connecting
Like,
over.
we have to know somebody.
If somebody in the chat guests, no, I can't do it. I don't work for the company anymore,
Snoop
but
and
it's
Martha
super
Stewart
not
are
okay.
buddies. Snoop would say for shizzle my nizzle hizzle.
Yes,
he would. Indeed.
Now, did you do stuff? Did they make you do anything like super athletic, or was it mostly just to capture like your natural movements?
I did all of my motion capture in like 4-inch heels, so
Oh
I
my
feel
God.
like that's pretty athletic.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I showed up in heels, and the director was like, "I like the heels. Do we have any, mocap shoes with heels? Not very popular for
Right.
motion capture." So they were like, would you mind doing it? They found a pair, and that fit me, and they were like, "Okay, now, sprint across the volume," and I was like,
Sure.
"I got this."
Yeah.
Luckily, I wear high heels a lot, so I was like,
Gosh.
"Okay, so I'm gonna run and I'm gonna flip onto this thing upside down." Like we were.
That was
it
a risk
really
they
fun.
took.
It
That was
really fun.
certainly.
I got to pretend to kill some of my friends. So
Oh, good. Like we all want to.
exactly.
In real
Actually.
life.
Running in heels on sand.
No, it was in the volume. It was in the volume. So it's kind of padded, so it's still not like.
No, but I mean your character in the game. What is she running on?
Oh,
Anything she wants, I'm
Good.
sure.
Because you're right, the Mad Max universe would certainly be.
I guess she is running on sand.
It's like Bryce Dallas Howard in Jurassic World. It's like she's running through mud. How is she handling these heels in any way?
In a full white outfit.
Oh yes, her outfit was like pristine and white.
Yes.
Have you done any motion capture? Or are you mainly sticking to the voice arena for now?
I haven't.
Leave the volume on.
Most of the video games that I've done have been more in the family arena, like the Skylanders. I'm in Mighty Number 9
Aha.
as Mighty
awesome.
Number 7.
That's awesome.
Yes, it is such a cool game. Yeah, so haven't really had a chance to do the mocap quite yet, but I hear stories. Yeah.
It's fun, and the cool thing is like, this is when you get on the volume, you can actually see like they have video screens. So some things are already programmed in.
Yep.
So whatever your body type is, they're gonna probably adjust it a little bit. So I would go on the volume and be like, really? Big pee-pee. Really? Big pee-pee. And taller me, and it was super fun, and it was great to see working with like Travis Willingham. He had all kinds of crazy stuff on
Yeah.
that they were gonna illustrate differently, but it was sort of like a DIY situation. It looked like we all had kind of like things with tape on it, and like they gave me this prop that was supposed to be this very important thing to me. I won't spoil it in case people haven't seen it yet, but and it's like a wiffle ball.
Of course.
So I'm endowing this wiffle ball with like everything.
Yeah.
You know, my heart. And
Takes
but
a
it's
lot
kinda
of
like doing black box
make-believe.
theater.
Yeah,
It's a
interesting.
little bit of like make believe, running around with your friends, you know, sword fighting or playing with friends.
Absolutely.
Everyone's walking around trying to shoot each other.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
It's live, guys. We can't edit that out.
If you could put your mic, it's slipping out a little bit. You want to help her, Jen?
It's very bendy, so
Find
you
it.
can actually contour it to the outside of your ear if you want to.
The good news is
So
I
if you
think
put
I
it
beat
over the
Mad
top
Max.
and you squeeze it,
Well, I got the
it'll
credits. We're watching the credits of
sit
Mad Max.
easier.
So you guys just watched me play 2 hours
There you
of
go.
epic Mario Maker
Britney
and
Spears has nothing on
beating
me.
that, and now I have
Precisely.
finished.
All right, stay.
Oh, what? You got to play it after? So this is
Perfect.
like when you beat Mario.
Do you know if we're going to run into your character? Now, they can hear it at a low level
Yeah,
in
everybody
chat.
at home can hear it.
They can hear it. Like it's resting just beneath our conversation, so you guys are not missing any of the stuff. But do you know if your character appears early in the game? Are we going to encounter
It takes
her?
a while. We've been playing Mad Max at the house, and it's a while.
Takes a
but
while.
but you do get to find. I think the first person that you find is a guy named Chumbucket.
Chumbucket, sure.
Yeah, who's played by Jason, and I can never pronounce it. Spizak. Do you know?
I don't know, Jason.
I'm terrible. I'm sorry, Jason, about your last name, me butchering it. But he's incredible. It was so incredible to watch him in the motion capture process. He plays a hunchback and was hopping around.
Wow.
And, it was the guys that I got to work with were just putting in the most amazing performances. It was
Nice.
it was like a great day of make believe with your friends out, like, in the backfield behind your house when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You had really, like, constructed really great weapons and stuff. And the guys were just, the characters were so much fun to play, and Travis is terrifying, and Jason's hopping around, and it was really one of
be-
my favorite experiences.
They probably will have. I mean, like, I don't know if I know the cameras in the volume capture the motion, right? And you wonder, did they have like a camera just capturing you guys doing probably some BTS, just doing that stuff? That'll be good blackmail material later.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, I mean, definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but from observation, it seems to be an entirely different skill set. You can't just take like an actor who's used to television and movies and expect them to be good in a volume. Some of them just can't get past the fact that there's nothing for them to be like present with,
It is hard. I mean, it's hard to. I haven't done that much of it actually, but it is hard coming from the on-camera stuff that I've done has been where you're playing for the camera,
Right.
and it's oddly freeing but weird that you're like, I don't have to look anywhere in
Right.
particular. I'm not hunting for an eye line or, and if you're doing like romance stuff, one of the biggest challenges actually was for me, and I guess you get better as you go along, but there's so much Velcro on the suits.
Yep.
And so if you're having to grab somebody, the chances of you getting attached are fairly good. And you just know, like, I remember going to grab one of the other actors and just being like, it's over. I've ruined the take because I'm just waiting because I'm like, sorry guys.
Yeah, there's no
They're like,
natural
all right,
way.
let's go. Yeah, there's nothing you can do. So it's the
It happens to me a lot too. I get very attached
yeah.
after.
Get your shoes stuck together, the Velcro straps. And
Sure,
stuff, and
with the two of them.
yeah,
on the
cross over
playground.
A little bit.
That's Kyle says, oh my God. Hello, Courteny Taylor. Oh my God. How's it going? Rennick says, oh cool, she played the priestess from Lightning Returns.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yep, they're doing their research. Captain, the Catman? I need glasses.
Let's
Brotherhood
see,
hiss.
Lightning Returns. I was the priestess. I was the crazy religious zealot, which was super fun. They brought me in. They were like, how's your crazy religious priestess? I'm like,
It's one of
I
my
got one right
favorites of
here.
yours.
I'm like, let's do it.
Sure.
So that was good, trying to exhort people to do bad things.
There's Chum Bucket.
And,
Oh, we found the chum bucket.
Chum.
I love his necklace. That's awesome.
He's he was incredible, and he was hopping around on the volume in that hunched over position. I mean, I was like, let me drive you to the chiropractor.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're killing
Exactly.
me right now.
Oh my God, that thing is terrifying.
Hey,
Jeez.
beauty is on the inside. Jack.
Tasha says
That's what
so.
other people say. I'm just saying.
Listen, beauty's
So-
on the inside, guys.
So many good games, says Tasha. You definitely have a very excellent, charmed career. The titles on your IMDb are just, they're the big titles. You've made it. Really. Probably long since made it. What is that like? Do you get recognized like at conventions, on the street, you know?
No, not on the street. At conventions, yeah, sometimes. But, you know, that's totally cool. I mean, conventions are heavenly to me.
Yeah?
I love.
Because you're a god.
No, I love walking around and seeing, like, it's like, conventions to me, like, I wish there were conventions, like, when I was a teenager, because I would have been a mad cosplayer, and,
Oh my gosh.
you know, like,
yeah.
I would have, I mean, I was cosplaying a different thing in high school, but, yeah, it's so creative and artistic. I just love walking around. We go to a lot of conventions together, and although I'm not great at recognizing everything, usually I'm like, who's that? You know, I love just walking up and talking to people about how they've made their costumes. I met a girl who had done an Iron Man costume.
Dog's bleeding out.
Out
I
of
can fix it.
Coke
I do my best work in
protests.
the sanctum.
That's,
I mean,
oh, that must have taken like forever.
it was chainmail
Or the
out of.
Silver Samurai who made it entirely with Coors Light boxes.
That's
Beautiful.
incredible.
So
I could make one of those.
amazing.
You must be
So
running on
I mean, I love that. I can just stand around and people watch in the corner, like all day
Yeah.
and all night when I get the opportunity, and then no, otherwise
No?
I will, you know, people will be like, occasionally somebody will be like, do I know you? And I'm like, I probably waited on you at some point.
Oh no. Well, it must be, you know what it must be really fun doing? We may have to ban Corny McFlo. My eyes are really giving out on me right now, but he did say that MILF looks good. So I don't
Well,
know.
thanks.
I'll let you be the judge whether or not you want him banned or not. Oh, too late, he's gone. I wasn't sure if that was an insult or like it would be taken as an insult or a compliment. I would take it as a compliment.
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay,
I mean, I'm not a mom, but okay.
It's like your voice
You're
right
a
now has got
MILF.
that
You're a
really sexy, you know, rasp to it. I think that's contributing to the
Yeah.
mom feel,
It-
maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Um,
Go clean up your room, whatever your name was, Corny Flap.
Stop it, you're doing things to him right now.
I know, right? Exactly. I think he's already doing them. But if you guys are just joining us, sorry.
Sorry, we were gonna keep this totally family friendly.
It's the
I thought
internet.
compared to most days, these guys are well behaved.
They're being very tame, actually. It is the internet, so we'll look to you to guide how blue you want to get with your humor and your commentary, and then we'll ban accordingly. But you know, don't feel restricted to.
Hey, I
to
love
be
Renix
friendly.
Reject. Thanks, Renix Reject. You're awesome.
Oh, someone was asking you as well what it was like being on Criminal Minds.
That was fun, and it was especially fun because I was playing a mom.
Oh, there you go.
This kid got kidnapped, and my crazy ex-husband was Todd Stackstrack, who's a friend of mine.
Oh, funny.
Who is, you may know him from 12 Monkeys. He's a great actor. He's been in Exit, The Riches with Minnie Driver and Gizzard.
Oh, yeah.
He was on that as well.
Awesome show.
Incredibly talented. And it was so much fun to realize that, like, after all this time we were getting to play opposite each other. Although we didn't actually get to do any scenes together, but just knowing he was my crazy ex-husband was very nice. And I sort of vaguely know Shamar Moore from way back in the day, so that was fun too.
Cool.
There was a lot of
Familiar faces.
Yeah. So that was great, and I didn't have to drive too far.
Oh, you didn't have to.
Filmed
Oh,
it- they filmed it up in Lancaster or something.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It was just right up the street. It's cool.
that's like an hour and a half from here.
That's all right. It's all right. I had to go much farther.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
it is.
I swear.
Oh, it's cool. Does anyone here have any alien
I
implants?
didn't touch it. I swear.
These are very finicky. One of the fun things about us is that we broadcast daily, so these things definitely get a lot of wear and tear, and they give out on occasion.
This is like 2 though. I mean, we've been doing this for 10 minutes.
That's true. You know what?
Yeah.
Do you have any alien input? No, just kidding.
I might. It might be the metal plate in my head.
Oh.
Maybe I'll just
I'll
leave
keep
it
an
there.
eye on your light if it goes red again.
Cool.
As long as it doesn't go blue.
Well, let's turn our attentions to you now.
Oh,
Laser
hi.
focus. You're in the hot seat. Wile E. Coyote. That's an iconic character that you get to play.
He is.
Yeah.
He's an iconic silent character.
Oh,
So a lot of yeah.
You know
I mean,
what? Didn't occur to me until
yeah,
now.
and so a lot of people are like, so what, do you just do mime in the booth? I'm like, yes, it's all
I
it's
do
all
a
mime.
great imitation.
No, he's spoken only maybe 5, 6 original Merry Melodies and Looney Tunes shorts.
Yeah.
But now he's in full esoteric force, and it's great. Like he in the show Wabbit, Wile E basically plays Bugs's annoying neighbor. And any mundane thing that Bugs is doing, raking the yard, planting a garden or whatever, Wile E can do it with all of the Acme technology at his disposal.
Sure.
Allegedly.
Because that's worked so well for him.
Yeah.
Like, traditionally.
And of course it still doesn't.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, it's a super fun character to play. I was just at New York Comic Con with some of the cast, and the show's been really well received. I mean, you always get nervous when it's such a classic brand, but
And people certainly have their, their impressions of how they think it should be after so many decades.
Exactly. And it looks
Voice protagonist. What?
Yeah, I know. But the way I play it is kind of I take an homage from the way that Mel did it, and throw in some Disney villains and a little bit of Sideshow Bob, and poof,
Nice.
Magic is made.
magic is
Magic.
made.
Acme magic.
That's really cool.
Look at you got a heart. You got a Wile E. Coyote heart.
There you go.
That's nice.
Now, guys in the chat, we are definitely reading the chat throughout. If we miss your question, it does scroll, so just repost it, and we will definitely bring it in. Any good ones
No.
that I missed so far?
No.
Are you guys being ill-behaved?
No, they're being behaved. Ask good questions.
Yeah, come on.
I'm just being mean. I'm sorry. I see
No,
the
it's
question,
cool.
but yeah, keep sending them.
Got some
in.
Jack lovers in there.
There's a lot of Jack lovers. in
There's
the
a
chat right
puppy.
now. People
Yes.
were debating who they should romance.
Yeah, Tasha romanced Miranda. Surprise! Everybody romances Miranda. That's okay. I like it. Rennick says romancing Jack is better. Rennick, I'm gonna give you 2 thumbs up.
There you go.
Renix is
Baby.
getting lots of love today.
Yeah.
And
He
he's,
is a regular.
I paid him to
IMDb.
write all this.
He's very happy about this. Right
he's IMDb stalking you.
Whoa,
I'm texting him now.
He went deep cut. Atomic Poison Ivy. Yeah.
Yeah. We were obsessed with Infinite Crisis here on the show. I'm sorry, on our network. We actually were paid by Warner Brothers to do a Infinite Crisis regular series for a good long while. So your voice has always been with us, like in a very,
The dulcet tones just
Yes.
hanging over you.
That character's amazing, and she had such a distinctive voice. How much do you look into? This is really a question for both of you. You had mentioned Mel Blanc. Ow.
That's hard.
Good. That was part of it. That was part of it. Before I ask a pointed
Physics.
question, I like to injure myself. When you do a character that somebody else voiced in the past, how much do you go into like researching that and like seeing if you could bring in elements of it, and how much are you focused on like making it totally your own? Like, which side do you lean towards? It's
I feel
Atomic
like you
Poison
should
Ivy.
take that first because you just brought it up.
I mean, for something like Wile E, I mean, there's a lot of expectation of what happens there. The cool thing with that character, though, is that unlike Yosemite Sam or Bugs, where everybody knows syllable by syllable how that character's supposed to sound,
Absolutely.
he's a little less. His voice is a little less well known, so I had the room to play with it a little bit. Actually, I remember when Matt Mercer was answering this question about like how he did Robin. Like Robin was something. There's years and years and years of Robin, lore that you can go into to figure that out. And then there are characters that just come out brand new, or maybe have an iteration. They're like, we're looking for a new take,
Yeah.
and you just kind of do your own thing and just play.
I think Mercer's Robin he certainly was a man Robin. Like
Yeah.
his voice, it was just a man's voice. Because in that game, Robin is certainly not a kid anymore. Or at least he doesn't he doesn't seem to be animated that way. Like he's grown up Robin.
Right.
So that was an interesting take on Robin, definitely. It's awesome. Have you contemplated it all? And I know you also have a follow-up, I'm sure. But have you contemplated it all that because of the legacy of Looney Tunes, you're now immortalized in a way? You'll always be like an IMDb entry, you know, like
Yeah.
Wile E. Coyote was voiced by like these very few people, and you're
Yeah, there's only been about
and-
five or
yeah, that's
five or
good
six
company,
people
right?
that have done, and I mean, you know, and of those 5 or 6, some of them have only done like one line, you know, and so it's, yeah, it's a little weird. It's awesome. It's very cool, and it's also just cool to be sort of, you know, one of the newbies of this crowd, and you know, amongst people who have been doing the character for doing a Looney Tune for 25, 30 years, you know,
It's a pretty awesome sandbox he's playing in, for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, it is pretty wild. But you know, you're never gonna please everybody, and the best you can do is just kind of, you know, try and be respectful of the source material and just have fun, you know.
And maybe, you know, you can talk to, I played Wonder Woman in Justice League Heroes, and
Cool.
I really, like, there's been so many different Wonder
Absolutely,
Womans, but,
yeah.
like, taking into consideration what she means to me and trying to, you know, looking back on what I watched as a kid and stuff, you know, Linda Carter was the jam, and
That spin alone, I mean, my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, whew, hot. But it was more of like, how can I kind of bring, talking to the people who are making the game or the show and saying, what context is this? What are you trying? Because a lot of the times they are trying to move it forward into like an older or younger viewing audience, or they're trying to make it more contemporary. A lot of that stuff is, I mean, Wonder Woman. To me, I'm really curious to see what they do with her with this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because they've sort of pushed her look, and
Yeah.
and so you try and honor not only the source material but also what does this particular franchise want to do with it.
Right, in the context of that story and the iteration. It's the new one. I heard through the grapevine that Gal Gadot did not ditch her Israeli accent to play Wonder Woman. So now Wonder Woman's got an Israeli accent.
Interesting.
That's going to be interesting, right?
I kind of love that.
She's a cool, interesting woman. I was actually watching an interview with her because I guess maybe I was auditioning for something that was supposed to be either something that sounded like her or was a Israeli accent or something. But I looked her up. YouTube is amazing
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff. It's not a you definitely hear that accent.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to
Fascinating.
see, and I think it might give her I don't know, it's kind of a cool dimension that she's
Yeah.
not, from.
Especially because she
Bakersfield.
wears the stars and stripes, but at the same time, she's from an island,
Yeah, she
out in the,
represents
she's-
America. She's on our side, much like, Superman's American, or what was it in The Watchmen? We want them to be American, but in reality, she's from like Amazonia or
Yeah,
something.
Yeah.
everybody from
That
America's sort of.
mascara. Amazonia.
Amazonia.
Yeah, it's the Amazons on Themyscira. Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm not deep.
He's gonna have to go see the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to count on you to keep an eye on the chat as well.
Oh yeah, Tasha wanted to know what an audition is like for voice acting. Is it similar to acting for film and television, or do you just like send them an MP3? Because it could be anything. What are auditions like?
It depends on what they don't really do out of house, like where you travel to a casting place anymore. So many of us have, home recording studios, either a laptop with like a Yeti or, a sort of
Seems
basic
scary.
mic.
Which is a
To have
microphone.
Mic.
a Yeti in your
Which
house?
is a microphone, so you're not talking into an
wouldn't
actual
want it.
Yeti.
So
It's
what is
very
the
hard.
role
You get
of
a
the
ladder.
Yeti?
You have to like stand up and talk into his middle part. So most of the time for me, it's I have a booth at home, and so I go into my little booth and then proceed
little
to fall
panic
down
room.
the rabbit hole of like, 3 hours later coming out with like one audition because it's kind of dangerous to do your own engineering because you're like, I could just do this one line a little bit, I'll just go back in, and then you come out and it's dark outside. But or we just go into our agencies and someone there will run the record for us, and then they send it off as an MP3, and you hope. And if it's a commercial audition, it usually is a pretty quick turnaround. But
And the decisions are made just off of the recordings. They don't have to come in and do a callback or anything like that.
for games, we do callbacks, and for games, sometimes we will go in and audition there. More and more games are asking for motion capture, so they want to see you. They want to see your build and how you move. And so it's
Scary.
it's a changing, it's definitely a changing market. But then I just auditioned for a game a couple of times in my agency and then went back, but they were doing motion capture callbacks, so that was kind of the next phase.
Wow.
So it keeps ratcheting up, and then maybe I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks later you might go in and do the game. Might be the week after your audition. I just went in and did something yesterday that I had auditioned for maybe 2.5 months ago, 3 months ago, where I was like, don't actually remember what I did.
Oh no.
Can you play it for me? So they always have selects that they'll play back for you, so it's you can get back into it, which is helpful.
Yeah.
So it's volume, like a volume thing in a way. Like you have to, like how many, and don't divulge any of these details if they're trade secrets, but how many auditions do you have to do, like a day, like a day or a week, just to land like enough to be, making a living out of it?
Yeah.
That's a big, big question.
It's a lot. I mean, like, obviously, commercials are paid like regular television commercials, so those are always good. You wanna land those TV commercials if you can. I was doing some spots for Motrin, which I was like, yeah, Motrin! And I was the voice of Caesar dog food for a long time, and Ghirardelli chocolate since I grew up in San Francisco. That was
Nice.
close to my heart
It's
and
a good feather in the
and my
cap.
belly.
Yeah.
And then games are sort of paid per session, so you the more sessions the better, and so yeah, you have to work fairly often.
Oh.
It's not, I don't think, quite what it's perceived.
Yeah, it
My
isn't.
cost of it's not outside today.
It's not one of those jobs where it's just like, oh, I booked this role, so that means I'm getting 6 figures this year, right?
I'm good for the whole year.
Not for the one role, no.
Yeah.
I waited tables for a long time when I first moved to Los Angeles, and even when I started booking stuff, I was still strawberry lemonade or regular lemonade, and just to make sure. Just to make sure.
I had the weirdest. I guess my first awakening to that truth was I have a friend who's a friend now. At the time I met her, she was on the show. Played this big iconic role in a game that I loved, right? And after the show mentioned that she worked at like Styles for Less, and then she could hook me up with some, like just in retail, could hook me up with some great deals on some mall clothing. And I was like, you played this huge role in this big video game. Like, shouldn't they, shouldn't that be floating you? But I guess not. I guess that's the
I'm going
side
to give you a
of the-
fun fact. Fun fact. When somebody had mentioned Juhani up on their, I played Juhani in Knights of the Old Republic, and I was also waiting tables at the Cheesecake Factory at the time.
Oh my
That's the glamorous life.
Listen,
So-
there's nothing wrong with any of that. It's called making a living.
It's called
Yeah.
making
No,
a
it's
living.
great, but
Making
yeah, it
ends
was
meet.
absolutely.
It's called working.
It was. It's called working in white jeans. I'm working hard. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it took me. I think I was here for about 5 or 6 years before I left.
Interesting. I
Interesting.
I have this. I guess I could share your pain in that I produced a feature film at one point in my career that did really well. Was in Redbox, sold in many foreign territories. The process of making that film and paying out of pocket for the post production because we went over budget, all that stuff landed me in a receptionist job
Yeah.
So I was sitting at a receptionist desk, like, you know, just thinking, like, I made a movie. You know, like, hello?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, sure, I can
People
take a
go like
message.
Smart and Final. I made a movie. How can I direct your call?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The Travman in the chat wanted to be very specific, not just what was one of your favorite roles to play, but what were your favorite lines to say.
Ooh.
Oh, well, I was super lucky with, I mean, Jack's like, there's so many good lines. It's insane.
Yeah. And people have certainly been going totally ape for that when they've been looking you up in IMDb in the course of this chat. So, you guys, don't just stare and gawk. You could certainly ask questions.
Ask away,
Yeah.
ask away, my friends. Yeah, Jack had some insane, like, I mean, it changes a lot, but I definitely like the, take your balls out of your purse, Rodriguez. Go kick some ass.
Awesome.
Or, I mean, Mass Effect 2 had great lines as well. That's Mass Effect 3, but there's something about, she's not going to lay down like that girl you took to prom. And then all the stuff from 2 where she was just everything about Miranda, you know, it was super fun too.
You've got that superpower, not just for use at conventions, I'm sure at like any place where you could be like, hey, do you play this one video game? Well, let me show you that. And then you do the line. I'm sure eyeballs just like go wide and like faces light
You
up.
see people walking around in there with those Mass Effect jackets, you know?
Yeah.
You can just catch them like right
You're
off.
like, hey,
Mass
Guess
Effect
what?
fans are awesome that way. I mean, but it's not just the jackets. I mean, they're walking around as like Grunt
Yeah.
and Rex. I mean, huge.
yeah, they dedicate.
Like,
Yeah.
they're a very creative bunch of people, and their costumes are insane. And I was just at Dragon Con in September, and a guy had done his truck with an N7, you know, big N7 logos on the doors. It was black and red and white. And I was like, what? That's awesome. And he was
Yeah.
like, come on. So we ended up doing a little photo shoot where we're like,
Nice.
it was just, like Mark Mir and I were just like, this is so, I mean, he was like, I'm never selling it. So we're like, all right, we'll sign it. So
Oh,
we
that's
signed
awesome.
all over the inside of his car. I was like, your resale value just was,
Oh, no, I'm sure
the
just certain
sentimental
audiences
value.
went way up.
yes, very
Sentimental
sentimental.
value.
But yeah, it was really cool to see all those guys and they're still going
Dedicated.
strong.
Yeah.
At Dragon Con, I think there was 1,200 people at the Mass Effect panel.
Yeah.
Still,
That's a lot,
you know,
yeah.
I love it, and they're just great. They're so much fun to interact with. So
Now, I know you both, actually, I don't know this about you, JP, but screen act, I know that about you because you've revealed it during the thing, but the on-screen acting, do you have a preference? Would you prefer to be doing that if at the end of the day you had to choose between being on camera or being a voice actor? No, not in a million years?
voice
No?
actor all the way.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, I did a tiny bit of on camera.
I just assumed because you're
I
both very
was,
good-looking people.
I did a
I'm like,
singing
sure.
telegram role on The Real Husbands of Hollywood on BET,
Oh, that's cool.
which was a party. But I don't know. I mean, it's fun, but it's a lot of hurry up and wait, and a lot of it is just kind of sitting around. And
Yep.
I think what I like about voiceover is you go in, you play around, you you don't have to worry about makeup or anything. It's just like you have a good time. And also, to look at me, like I mean, on Skylanders, I play like a Billy Idol-ish, huge, hairy rocker dude. To look at
Cool.
me, nobody would ever cast me as that in live action.
You have like a real Christopher Reeves look about you, if you don't mind my saying. It's not just the glasses; it's the bone structure, certainly.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are the
that's-
glasses intentional because you knew that was the thing that's happening with your face?
I mean, I would walk into the wall if I didn't wear them, but
So, but it's also
But
a little
still,
crispy.
yeah.
Just a little bit.
yeah, no, I love wearing glasses. I mean, I think, in voiceover and just a lot of the stuff that I typically go for, it's somebody that has a little more polish, a little more poshness, and I like to play it out. It's fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
You do get to play stuff all the time that you wouldn't. I get to play a lot of things that are, I think, similar to me, but like way more badass versions, which is super fun.
But then there's characters like Doris, which is so deep cut. And so
You don't just get to play
This
the
is old
characters.
New York,
you
like-
get to like travel to other worlds too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You
it's,
can't
it's,
do unless you're gonna get like a sci-fi show.
If
Which there's
if
two
I
of.
was gonna get stuff like that for on camera, then yeah, I mean if I could do like big sci-fi movies where I got to be super badass and stuff.
sure.
But I think those are a lot more limited.
I don't think
than-
any of us would have said no to Star Wars, is what we're saying.
right.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Jessica, wherever you are. I had a friend who was one of the casting people on Star Wars, and there was
Oh.
Yeah.
so much, waving of money and begging and crying.
Oh, God,
and
I can only
showing up at her
imagine.
house and being like, "Please, just anything." And
Unfortunately, she bakes better than either of us, so it's not. We couldn't just.
yeah,
show
there
up
was
with cupcakes.
nothing we could get. She was like, "I'm not interested." So.
Impervious.
Yeah, she's
Um,
like, I don't even see you right now. As I'm standing there in my stormtrooper outfit, like,
Like, come on.
pretty
I
nice,
mean,
right?
it's pretty
Right?
It's like bring me a bag of dirt in the Ziploc bag from the set, please.
Yeah, anything.
People
like,
will.
Yeah,
It's Star Wars, you know.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
To be able to be in that, the cast, they're so fortunate. Not just
Yeah.
from that standpoint, but growing up watching it would be really cool.
It is.
Still works.
I have had the opportunity to work with Mark Hamill, and every time I walk into the room, he's on regular show, and obviously he has not been so regular with all of that, but without fail, it doesn't matter, and I'm sure he won't see this, so I'm going to totally fangirl out, but maybe he will. Maybe he's watching right now. Mark, if you're watching right now, I'm just going to say it.
He's sitting on the set of Flash in Vancouver. And he's
Right.
just flicking through. Oh.
And he's like, wait a minute, I feel like that might be Starla. Every time I walk in, I'm like, and then I'm like, what's up? How's it going? And then I like have to turn and look at the wall and be like, okay. Anyway, where were we? Like, yeah.
I was at a convention where there was a woman we're friends here with. Am I allowed to say that? There's
not
a
friends with
celebrity.
anybody.
There's a celebrity who's a friend of the company's, right?
Okay.
Got us
There's a
tickets
lot
to-
of like not finishing.
yeah,
I'm
you-
you have a
lot of
exaggerating
smoke and
names.
mirrors
Yeah,
down
exactly. She's like celebrity that shall not be named.
Yes. Invited us to go to a screening of something, and sitting next to me was, how do you like that for specificity?
I know, right?
Sitting next to me was a woman, and you're in an audience, so you're not looking at the people around you necessarily, but I just noticed people kept walking up to her nonstop. Oh my God, I love you. Can I get a selfie? Oh my goodness, like just nonstop, like it's endless train of people. And I was thinking, this poor woman, because she sounded like it was the end of a long day. It was a late night screening. I turned, and it's Carrie Fisher. And then I was like,
Then you're like,
I don't
"Where's-
know.
then
Can I
you're-
get a selfie?"
selfie?
No,
Yeah.
no, it
Then
wasn't
you're
that.
next in line.
But then I was like
As you
nervous.
slowly just went like,
you
Yes,
know?
exactly.
Chick-
Yeah, exactly.
Should I tell her the
kinda
story?
tell a story.
Ooh, tell the story.
Tell a story.
So we were at San Diego Comic-Con this year, and
God, I'm so
we
mad.
Courtney had just gotten out of an interview, probably with IGN, I think, and we were at the Hard Rock, and she and Julie Nathanson, also a voiceover actress, is amazing. We had just gotten into an elevator, and they were looking at pictures on their phone, and this short woman gets in the elevator, and I'm like,
And I'm like,
oh my God, look at her picture. She gets out, I'm like, that was Carrie Fisher.
and I'm like, what?
Oh no.
Yeah.
You're like, phone, you ruined my
But
life.
I
she's
know.
really tiny.
Yeah.
Isn't she?
Yeah.
She's really
Yeah,
short.
Yeah,
She
and I
is.
mean, and she was in a black blazer, and when she got on, she kind of looked like somebody's talent agent or something, very
Yeah.
stern and sort of
Yeah.
brusque, and
Yeah.
it's like, nope, that was Princess Leia.
Those things must be brutal for her, though. Conventions, like everybody, I'm sure, just wants a piece. It can't be fun after a while. I don't know. I'm not Princess Leia, but it didn't seem like from where I was sitting, it didn't seem like it was fun. Like she didn't have a moment.
Yeah, I think
know?
it's a lot. I mean,
Yeah. So stop
you
it,
wear
fans.
one gold bikini,
I
and
know. And
you
look
know.
what happened.
Didn't that thing
Enjoy
sold
a
for
meal
what,
in peace.
96,000 just
The
recently?
original?
Yeah.
Was there only one of them?
I
That
think
sold
there's one.
recently, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very recent, for like either 196,000 or 96,000. More than I've ever
There's
paid
some
for a
I
bikini.
like
strange
Tim, I was
rich
gonna-
man that's prancing around his house in a gold
Yeah,
bikini.
in the,
Oh,
in the
God.
pre-worn
Family
bikini.
Yeah.
just family friendly.
It looks like Trav Man, I can't read it. Have you ever played Dungeons and Dragons, and what sort of fantasy character would you want to play?
Critical Role, Matt Mercer.
Whatever Matt Mercer told me I was playing. I guess that's not how it works. No, I have not played Dungeons and Dragons. I was kind of busy going to punk rock shows when a lot of my friends were doing the D&D thing.
The cool kids,
Yeah,
we
she's-
call them.
We read between the lines.
The cool
She was
kids.
like, I was too
No,
cool
I mean,
for that. No.
I was too busy getting my hair pulled in the hallways and stuff. I mean, I was going through my own.
Journey.
I
Yeah.
thought I was cool, but a lot of people did not think I was cool. So no, but I am friends with Matt Mercer and a lot of the people from Critical Role, and it's been really interesting. I was with Marisha Ray and Matt Mercer in New Zealand a couple of months ago, and they were kind of bringing me up to speed on the whole thing, and it sounds amazing.
It's a revolution. It's
And,
like
and
a
the
new
dice
thing.
are super cool looking, so I'm anything shiny or colored, things. But yeah, I don't know that much about it except for that I like the idea of getting to plan out. The great thing about voiceover is that you do get to play all of these. I played Arwen in Lord of the Rings.
So cool.
War in the North,
Oh, that's cool.
and I love those characters. I don't get to play them as much as I would like, but I would probably magic, elfy kind of. Super girly, maybe. I mean,
Very ethereal.
yeah, get to really make a departure from some of the stuff I normally play. I love I love magic and Harry Potter-y kind of stuff. So if I could, throw that stuff in there. And Matt was saying you can really do whatever you want. It's really any sort of genre you can mix in. So
Right.
yeah, why not? Sounds fun.
I wouldn't
play?
say I was one of the cool kids, but for like
He's like,
the-
but I was the cool
But-
D&D kid.
But I was kind of cool because I could play sports and
Humble
video games
brag.
and stuff. No, but like I always wanted to play D&D. That was weird with me. Like there's kids who played it, and it's like, oh, those guys are nerds. But it's like, oh, but I wanted to go play it too. And I'm like, no.
I wanted to look at the things because there's like little.
It's all so interesting. like,
Yeah, little
they've got, like,
miniatures.
little, and I was like, give me that. That's shiny. Give me that.
I got to play it once, and it was like the most fun ever. And then I never got invited back to play again.
Oh.
That's sad.
You had too much fun.
Too much.
They
And
didn't like that.
Wasn't even
Here's
drunk.
the thing with Matt is we were just joking around about it. I was like, I will follow Matt into like he's the Pied Piper. So you could
Sometimes
be like,
literally,
you could be like, absolutely not. I will never ever play D&D. I would never go to Burning Man. I would never do like whatever Matt loves. The way he explains it to you, you're like, I'm in. I am in.
Whatever
I'm
that
renting
is,
a
yes.
motorhome right now. We're going to Burning Man, and we're going to play D&D while we're at Burning Man. It's going to be amazing.
He almost got me to go to Burning Man one year, and it's in hindsight, I'm like, that is like everything that I'm not about, because I'm about showers and and,
was gonna say
and,
cleanliness.
and
Totally.
comfort,
Hygiene,
right?
awesome.
But I know the effect that you're talking about. He almost got
It's
me
like
to
I've
go to
always said,
Burning
I
Man.
would gladly go to Coachella if I could be airlifted in and out.
Stay backstage.
Yeah.
He has a way. I mean, obviously, I think that's what makes him a great
Dungeon
dungeon
master.
master. I know it. I know the term. I'm getting it all down.
The DM.
But that's what makes him so good at what his day job, that old voice acting job, and then his passion, which is, I'm like, I'm in. I'm in.
Oh.
And you've done some things with him.
Yeah, he did. I went over to his place. This was a couple of years ago. When he did it was a board game, but he was still the dungeon master of it, and it was like a 1920s Call of Cthulhu type of crazy thing. It was fun. It was a really
Was that
good time.
when you were the priest?
Oh no! For one of his birthdays, he did an entire Call of Cthulhu mystery thing where all of us had to dress up as characters, and
Wow.
I got to play a priest who ended up being a cult leader, and I went mad, and I had to be locked in a bathroom. And yeah,
As one does.
yeah,
Yep.
it was an ordinary Saturday.
Yep.
Locked
It
in
was
the
a lot of
bathroom.
fun though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun
Matt
to do all the
Mercer
character junk.
will make you do
Yeah.
things you did not think you wanted to do.
You've heard it here.
That's the
There you
t-shirt.
go. That's someone cut that and sent it to him. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Mercer was he was a character. He was a live action character in the movie that I mentioned. So that's how I know him. He was one of the
okay.
stars of my film. So
Cool.
yeah. So I knew him
All comes
back
full
before he was still a voice actor, but he wasn't as big as he is now. Certainly back then. So
Yeah.
Yep.
We actually had a little joke running for a while. We were at the same agency, and we were getting a lot of the same video games and stuff. So they nicknamed us Matinee. Because my name is spelled
That's
Courtenay, so
charming.
they were like, Matinee is getting booked on this. And I was like, I wanted to do a whole thing. I was like, we could do a promo package, and we'll have it so that like it's a gatefold thing.
It'll be
and
like the Donnie
it'll
and
be-
Marie thing, where you do like these
I wanted it
photos.
to be so that it was a picture of Matt raising his hand like this on one side of the gatefold, and then it was a picture of me going on the other side. And so when you closed it, we were high-fiving.
Aw.
That'd be sweet.
That'd be very cute. People would. I
Still
think
may
that could be a
happen.
thing. Yeah.
Maybe we'll send out invitations to my D&D christening or whatever we call it, naming or hand fasting or whatever you do for your first D&D
Yeah,
game.
or we'll saber a bottle of champagne or something.
Now you're talking.
Oh, look. It just turned classy in here.
It was
big-
always classy. Pinky's
I
up,
mean,
y'all.
by
There we
saber,
go.
I mean battle axe, but
Oh, there we go.
Exactly, right. Mace.
Saber a bottle of. Got it. Big boy thinks you're bad at fighting,
Yeah, some.
so you're
I
embarrassing.
was like,
us,
who, me?
Nick.
Now you can see my gameplay is in our top right. Now
right.
you don't need to highlight how bad I am at fighting.
He's blown it
Listen.
up. Oh, good.
Listen,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
listening to awesome stories. I'm
You
learning.
just got ruined,
I'm
dude.
absorbing information. Now you guys get to see how bad I am at driving, right? I'm doing my best to
Slow
get the
motion
hope.
driving.
If it was like this whole time, that'd be great. Aim and
That-
fire.
This is how I play video games. Very
Driving like a
slowly.
grandma, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm gonna ask you guys a actory question.
Sure. I have an
Um,
actory answer
actory
for
questions.
you. I will stand up and answer that.
Do we drive around in ripped up Impalas in order to get in the headspace?
Yeah, you actually, you're very. You know what? That's very
Psychic. You have
very
ESPN.
psychic
What?
of you. Because what I know about voice acting is that you do the same line over and over and over again, right? Unless you nail it right away.
Unless you're awesome, and then it's just one line.
Yeah, and
Allegedly,
a lot of.
I don't know about that. But
Oh yes.
Even usually in video games, like it's not it. It's usually like 3 in a row or 2 in a row at the very least. Just
Yeah.
ABC.
Now, I know a lot of actors, not a lot, but I'm sure a good portion of them really need to get into that space and have to emotionally be there and, are very method, right? I imagine being emotionally there for a voice session, like being in that scene, is probably pretty exhausting, especially if it's like for a horror, do you guys personally emotionally connect to the lines as you do them, or is it really like a muscle thing where you can produce the emotions vocally, or do you have to get in that headspace to be able to do it? It's a big question.
I can come at it from the comedy perspective,
You're,
but
you're,
you're
deep-
drama
deep
girl. You
you're
go
deep
for it.
emotional Wile E scenes. How did you prepare?
I mean, from a comedy standpoint, it's I have to be up, ready, energized, like fully ready to
Right.
go because it's got to be snappy. Like it
Right.
has, especially if they're allowing for a little bit of improv. You really have to be on your game to do the comedy. But I haven't had to have Wiley weep. Oh, I killed the Roadrunner. No, that hasn't happened.
For me, it's it's nice because I noticed that games are getting way juicier storylines.
Oh, yeah.
So I spent a lot of time in the last there's been a lot of games that I've worked on where I've walked out and been like, can I get a tissue or something? Where you're just
Wow.
like experiences that I really did not think when I started doing voice acting that although with Knights of the Old Republic, Giovanni had a pretty cool storyline like that. There was, she had struggles. It wasn't just like Grenade, get down, behind the hay bale, behind the car, eyes on me.
The original Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes,
That game.
yes.
Too much.
Um,
It's too much. I couldn't take it.
and
So
I
hard.
do feel like it's preparing the same way as for on camera for some of the stuff, where I've had to be like, okay, I'm gonna take a minute here.
And get there.
And
Gosh.
it's a little tricky sometimes just because there isn't somebody there with you. I mean, I think on-camera acting is, you can grab somebody's hand and
Sure.
and,
and
there's
connect
that
and
that sort of rabbit hole into connection.
Right.
So it can be a little harder in the booth where you're grabbing your own hand and staring into your own eyes, but It's a matter, I think, of kind of. I always say it's like you kind of gather things in a toolbox, and then a good script will give you all of the stuff that you would, or a lot of the stuff that you would get for on camera preparation. You just have to do it a lot faster.
Right.
So
Interesting.
you do have to. It's an accelerated.
Do you ever get
way
like
of doing it.
a script where you you have to do like really happy lines juxtaposed with really terrified lines, and you have to make that switch?
That has to happen
Yeah,
in like
Yeah.
for sure.
in
We do
something like
pickups and
Fallout.
stuff,
Oh my
and they'll be like, this, you narrowly missed dying. You're like you're completely freaked out, and then it's like, oh hey Bob, how's it going? And you're like,
In the games that are like open-ended like that, because a lot of games are now, it's like the worst possible outcome, the best possible outcome. So let's just do this one and then do this one.
I got
Since the
axed in
file
the
mi-
stomach. I got an ice cream sundae.
right, exactly. Yeah, I mean they try and do the like gnarly like fighting stuff always usually at the ends of our sessions, but they definitely the emotional stuff is not. There's a lot of that like, oh okay, well this is where your whole family got slaughtered, and
Sure.
and then okay, so let's jump back up to that other line, and okay, so now you're choosing your car color, and you're like, oh okay, let me just.
Take a moment.
Just a second, I'm just gonna blow my nose and wipe my eyes, and let's get back to purple.
Yeah.
So it does it jumps around.
Wow, that's challenging. I
I think
can't
it helps to be a
imagine
little psychotic and not have great control over your emotions.
Oh
'cause
no.
It gets you there a lot. I mean, all this stuff. I was talking to, I was Skyping with a group of girls, high school girls, in a program after a school program in Texas a couple of days ago. We were talking
Cool.
about all the stuff that made life really hard for you when you were a kid. Is all the stuff that really comes in handy now. And
Interesting.
for me, not being able to control my emotions as a kid, having a really hard time controlling anger, upset, being overly exuberant all the time, not being able to kind of modulate that. Now it's great.
Now it's a superpower.
Now it's great. I'm like,
But
okay.
In that, in somewhat on topic, what of the roles were the most challenging that you have done video game wise to narrow it down to like 100 different?
Well, I
things?
mean, each one has its like challenges and its high points for different reasons. I mean, it's usually the material is different, the circumstances are different, the people you're working with are different. But as far as like emotional content, Jack had a pretty gnarly storyline. I felt like it's not a spoiler
No,
if it's
if you
been out for like
there's
5 years, right?
there's no such thing as a Mass Effect spoiler anymore, all right, guys.
That whole storyline of her having basically like those kids dog fighting to get her to become what she was supposed to be is pretty. When they rolled that out, I was like, oh, this is awful. And going back to where all that stuff happened, even if that was something where I was sort of shocked at some of the elements that they put in, and that was stuff where I was like, I need a second to kind of process this before we get into this. And then I was like, okay, now she's just fighting with Miranda. Okay.
And now she chooses a car color.
Exactly. Black.
Is it a lot like a book in terms of like you only know the story from what you can read and then recite? You're not actually playing the game like we are, You don't have any sort of visual reference.
Oh yeah, that was the question from USC president. It says,
USC president?
Are you really?
Max Nikias, is that you?
Oh gosh.
We have
went to
Trojan
You
USC.
happen to know
here.
who
Yeah.
it is? Do the lead voice actors get visuals and game background playthrough as they deliver a voice or a part?
For something like sequels, I'd imagine you'd have a reference already,
Yeah.
But for something that's new, I imagine it's a little more difficult.
I've heard that sometimes they don't even tell you, they can't tell you because you would know from, because then you'd have information that you could tell. I don't know if that's true or not, but how often do you get visuals or material to work with, and is it a luxury really? Do you mostly just go into it blinds?
Usually when we audition, there'll be a picture of sort of what's popular is to have maybe a few on-camera actresses that they're kind of referencing the feel
interesting.
of. And And then it really depends on Halo Wars. They gave us. They showed us animatics.
Yeah.
Okay. They showed us an animatic of the ship and stuff, so we had a lot more visual than I was. That was kind of that game was a little bit different. They allowed us to record as a group, which was super
cool.
fun.
Interesting.
So it was Nolan North, Kim My Guest.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there was no work getting done. David Sobolov, a lot of Greg Berger. It was a really fun group, and so that was we got more information and we got to play off of other people. That's not the usual situation. I definitely had already started working on Jack when they showed me what Jack was going to look like. They started showing me sort of pictures and stuff. So I think it depends on the size of your role and how much they have done. A lot of the time, I worked on a game called WildStar, and they showed me, they would say, this is your character, this is her deal. So they try and give you as much information as possible.
Interesting.
But I think it does depend on, how, if you're just waltzing in for the day, you're not getting, they're not giving away any secret sauce.
Juicy secret sauce.
Yeah, that you could possibly tell people. And I didn't know, working on Fallout even, they kept a lot of that stuff under wraps for quite some time.
Interesting.
Plus, I try not to know because then I can't give away any secrets.
Oh yeah, there
So
you
I
go.
don't try and piece things together or be like, when they said this, do they mean this? Although I still want to know who the rapper is. But
Oh, I can
but,
tell you afterwards.
But
Oh.
is it what?
Oh, it might. Yeah, I think it might.
I have very small ears.
These also tend to be really, I don't know, they're because so many people wear them, the bendiness gets lost, so they tend to be, yeah, just get real rough with it. You can-
How about that?
So
Time Life Books.
can we post the social media at a more regular, faster clip, Neo, if you don't mind? Although, did the bots have IMDb links to them?
Nope.
Neo, if you don't mind making IMDb links for the chat bot, that'd be awesome. Thank you. So we have people coming in and discovering, and they're like, "Who are these people?" And then
Who are these randoms?
And then we don't answer, and then
Oh.
the same people come back and be like, "Oh my God, they're in a bunch of games." So you guys at home are figuring it out on your own, but we'll make it easy by posting IMDb links as well. And the MooBot is going to keep firing the social media. So if you want to follow JP and Courtney on their own respective, we want to follow them as a unit on their Twitter.
Yeah, we spend a lot of time on Twitter together, so that's not that weird.
If you want to follow them on their social media, please do.
If we had a joint Twitter, it would just be all horribleness.
So are there this is a question that comes up every time with voice actors, and it's harder for voice actors who are as accomplished as you are to list names that you haven't already been able to tackle, but do you guys have dream roles?
Yes. This guy, the Joker.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, those are
Yeah,
cool.
that is
Nice.
rough.
You have to
Those
talk
are
to Mark
big-
Hamill, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
those are big shoes to have to
Big
fill.
shoes, but yeah. I mean,
It was dream role.
Yeah, absolutely. I've always been a villain person, and I've been lucky to that I've played a couple cool ones so far. But yeah, even growing up, I loved watching He-Man, but I only liked it because of Skeletor. I loved
Wow,
I loved
fascinating.
Shredder. I loved Megatron. I loved Bugs Bunny, but he's kind of a villain in his own way
he's-
too.
Yeah,
He's a jerk.
He's an
Yeah, he's-
asshole. Sorry.
Hey.
Yes, I said it. Bugs
he's
Bunny.
he's a stinker.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everything from the Joker to Loki, there's
Nice. So comic book villain would be certainly, yeah.
or even Disney, anything that's a mustache twister.
That's a tongue twister.
Yes.
Mustache
Exactly.
twister.
That's
Wow,
what I'm
that is hard to
after.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're fun.
I want to play. I know they're coming out with a new Disney princess, but I would like to. I would like them to have maybe a little punk rock princess.
Oh my gosh.
If they would do something like that, or a female Loki. I think it'd be super fun to.
Loki was female for a hot minute, I think.
And like it's really inspiring to walk around
One weird
at the
comic book thing. Yeah.
at the conventions and see everybody
Gender
swapping.
swapping, yeah.
Gender swapping.
Yeah. The cross play.
Yeah, it's super cool. So I would do that. We decided at one of the conventions we were at, I was like, I'd like to Scarlet Witch. She'll be.
Oh yes.
She'll
yeah.
be. I would like
Yeah.
that if anybody's listening. But yeah, like I would like to take a Disney princess and kind of
I
go
think
from a different direction.
I think it's headed that way. I mean, if you look at, I mean, I don't know how much you follow, if you have like nieces or a daughter, I have no assumptions. But,
I have only nephews. It's
oh,
awful. It's
oh
awful.
no.
Sorry guys. They're like seriously, but like there's no like I'm actually a girly girl and like I want to like
To get the
I'm
girly
like, here,
things."
put these bows in your hair, guys, and they're like. My 16-year-old
from me.
nephew's like, can I take this off yet? I'm like, just sit there.
Yeah,
It's just
exactly.
so cute. Paint your nails.
Perfect. I'm having a moment.
So no nieces, no.
But you notice that the way the toys are going, you know, Barbie is kind of like starting to lose her crown, and you've got like the Monster High and the Bratz.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all the girls are really starting to be encouraged to have more of an edge to them, and you know, Disney is like the purveyor of what it is that little girls want to be,
Yeah.
right? So I totally see that being
yeah,
like
I see
a
more
possibility.
real badass princesses
Absolutely.
coming down the pipe, and I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they
I-
just put out the animated Descendants, which was like the like all the Disney villains' kids. and,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I feel like
being all
they're-
punky.
Yeah.
Yeah, there
I
you
like,
go.
I like anything kind of punk rocky. So
Nice. Did you like Maleficent, the Angelina Jolie version?
I did. I liked the idea of it more than I liked the execution of it.
Yeah, I'm
I-
with you there, for sure.
The theory of it was great, and I like that idea of turning those things on their heads, and I liked how dark it was. And I thought the costumes were amazing, and I'm a big costume person. But it just
Yeah, I
didn't
really.
hit the mark for me. I think the guy had a little bit of there was something missing with their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
The chemistry was off, and
Totally weird. And
The
the
crow or the king?
the crow chemistry was great. The
Oh, yeah.
the
I thought he
king
was awesome.
chemistry was not
Yeah, that was weird.
on.
super
and
weird.
Such a tonally.
Yeah, and
movie.
he got real. He went. Yeah, I mean he was a little sleazy, but then he goes like full like crazy.
He just wasn't, and he
mad
just wasn't
king.
as I didn't understand. He didn't have any charisma at the beginning.
Absolutely.
You know, and
Yeah.
I wanted to see why she was in love with him enough to trust him, and then
Yeah.
that betrayal of him, you know,
Yeah.
taking her wings.
And she was, and that her character was strange too. Like, you know, Maleficent very much the like embodiment of evil in that she's like, oh, I'm gonna kill this baby, you know, back in the day. And here in this movie, she was like, you know, I'm gonna kill your baby. I take it back. I didn't mean to. Like immediately, right? And she spends like the rest of her life following around this baby and like playing little pranks. But my point, I got so sidetracked. I'm sorry. My point is like the interest in Maleficent as opposed to Sleeping Beauty, like among girls these days. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they want to know her story, they want to know. I think it's an interesting way that we're going with how we're raising our young girls. Is that, you know, they're encouraged to have an edge, they're encouraged to be complex,
Yeah.
and so
It
yeah,
can be dark and
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of those stories have that. If you read the originals,
Yeah.
that it sort of started out from a really dark place and then got sort of, you know, bright colors and everything was lovely
Disneyfied.
and
Yeah,
Disneyfied,
exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
even though it's
All the grim
great. I
stuff
mean,
was
those
real
are
dark.
iconic
Yeah.
to me, and it was totally appropriate for the time. And
Right.
and I have incredibly fond memories of watching all of those, you know, those Disney movies. But what makes it just additionally interesting is to have both those Disneyfied ones that are
Yeah.
sweet, and I have so much love for those as well, but also this idea of kind of going back to the really dark roots of where these stories started
Absolutely.
and exploring the psychology of the women so
Right.
that it adds this whole dimension. So there's these stories that are appropriate at really any time of your life.
Right.
You know, as a small child with the bright colors and everything, and as you get older, realizing that the world is
There's a
is,
darker underbelly.
yeah,
There's
and that
an
women are
undertone.
far more complex than just being princesses or damsels in distress. And I
Absolutely.
love anything that kind of turns that stuff on its head. And
Cool.
so I look forward to more of those characters.
I like very much that you both had, because I would have asked, like, would you prefer, if you had to choose for the rest of your career to play either heroes or villains, what would you choose? And I think villains.
Because the cool part about a villain is that up until the very end of the story, the hero is kind of like questioning and figuring things out and not really in the know and just sort of,
Yeah.
and only at the end triumphs and figures it out. The villain from the very beginning is the one with all of the cards, like, knows
Interesting.
everything and only at the very end loses them,
Yeah.
So,
Huh, that's a fascinating perspective. You're right. They've already got their stuff together.
yeah, they just lose it,
They lose it.
Or,
Like, I mean, I
or they
think-
have the nut of what made them the way,
Yeah.
their backstory is.
Yeah.
their origins are usually way more interesting,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Especially
always-
with Batman villains. Especially with
Oh my
Batman
god.
villains. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The Rogues Gallery. I mean, Batman really is defined. Batman as a character is great, but he's
Yeah.
really defined by his Rogues Gallery.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I'm also a big fan of any villain that like Professor Snape or anything like that, like the redeemable dark character.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
So great.
Those are always
So
fun.
great. Yeah, because you want, to me, the interesting thing is watching that, especially when you mentioned Snape, it's like, you're like, oh, I hate him. And then you're like, there's something, that you see the little redeeming things poking
Yeah.
out, and it keeps you on your toes as a viewer.
And you learn why he is the way he is, and it makes you question, as a viewer, what your previous notions were. And yeah.
And, and any of those, Alan Rickman, I mean,
yeah.
like, you see performances by him. You see the performances, like in, Deadwood, of the, bad guys and stuff. I mean, those are the ones that you're just like,
The anti-heroes. Yeah.
let me get in. Because that's the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
You want to. That's
Yeah.
the good stuff.
It is indeed.
There are people who are cut out for playing heroes. I like to be maybe the unexpected hero.
Yeah, I find what's really funny in the realm of voices these days, there's definitely a hero voice, right?
Sure.
Which is very much, I would put Troy Baker's very versatile, but he definitely has when he does his hero voice, he has a hero voice that sounds very similar to a Yuri Lowenthal voice, very similar to
Yeah.
the Mercer voice. It's like
Yeah. The Travis Willingham Thor voice.
I was
like,
practicing
yeah.
my hero voice around them. It didn't pan out.
Oh,
very
no.
well, but it is. It's that thing.
Yeah.
And it's all a little.
Yeah.
They've got a little. They're slightly breathless, like they
Quickly, let us
yeah.
get into the tunnel.
Exactly.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah. It just.
All right.
I'm not spazzing out, but we've got to move quickly.
Yeah.
And it's
Not
just
spazzing out.
slightly put upon, and
Yeah.
there's some texture to it.
Yeah, it's really funny. And I used to think that I could distinguish everybody's voices, and I'm having a harder and harder time. I know all these actors have more versatility to them, but it is very homogenizing. Male heroes are all starting to sound like that, versus villains. There's way more
There's
wiggle
more room to play.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the thing is I think heroes don't necessarily. There's lore around them, but they don't. Usually, something unfortunate happens. They get kidnapped or lost as a kid. And they're sort of wandering. They're not
Right.
necessarily traumatized.
Right.
Whereas, for me, the villains. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like Jack when they first saw her, and but to me, those kinds of traumas that happen when you're young, or being abandoned, or having things that you have to sort of overcome. I think heroes are sort of a foregone conclusion,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
and villains you don't really know where they're going to go, and they have the potential to go good.
Right. They could do the right thing.
Yeah.
Or they can stay
It's
on their
very rare
destructive
that you
path.
get a hero that you're like, this guy is going to totally nuke everything.
Right.
The other great thing about villains, or heels, as we call them in wrestling, which is what I noticed though, is it's very common that as a hero you can't have egg on your face ever. you're Superman. You're always Superman. Can't slip up. Where villains are allowed to, slip up and have egg on their face or show their ass and like be vulnerable and weak in performances, not just like in a story. And so it just adds that extra side to that,
Yeah.
something fun that can happen. They usually have much more fun.
Yeah.
Like,
Being out
even
of
just-
control is way more fun
Yeah.
than being in control.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If you
Now-
guys have Fallout questions,
yeah, people are,
you
are
can ask them.
dancing around the Fallout
Alberto,
question.
the gamer, wants us to show him Fallout, but I'm playing it on a different screen right now, so you don't get to see it. I'm about halfway through my speed run.
But lucky for you, you have Courtney Taylor who plays voices in
Gave us
Fallout.
all
But
copies
you
of
can't-
Fallout 4.
Yep,
Exactly.
Told us all the
my
secrets.
notes from the last 2 years, how it all goes down. USC president has an interesting question. Has any of the voice actors ever changed any of the dialogue from a game and made it into the
Ooh.
final game or DLC? There are certainly projects that have allowed us to improv more. There's a trend, I think, or something that I've seen recently that is allowing for more of the quirks of humanity to come into the game. It used to be that sort of heroic read where everything's very clean, the sentences are very, they're not muddy or dirty, and now there's this trend that's more pre-life, exhales, stutters. Fallout definitely
Interesting.
allowed us some wiggle room with that kind of stuff, so that the lines aren't necessarily just, this is the line and I'm done with the line.
Right.
I'm thinking, so it's this is the line, and
Yeah.
I'm done with the line,
Yeah.
and it's so much more fun to
Cool.
do. And I think depending on the project, we definitely had things in Fallout where the writing team was awesome enough to let us give feedback and say, I think maybe a female would not say it that way, and
Cool.
allow for that and come back and give us alternate versions, and we messed around. And I don't think because I'm a badass, powered by Taco Bell, made it into the game. But I did a lot of air punching and swearing about Taco Bell at one point. Do not think that made it in.
I'm
It
sure
did make it onto
technology,
YouTube.
like technology though, not just of the time, but of the developer or whoever, one might not have the technology to even allow for too much improv or changing things. And
They do have, they'll have people there working on lines, and they have to match when they send the files. And so to have a lot of extra, even when we're working, they'll do their selects and dump the other stuff and just send the selects. So
Cool.
they're,
So it's
like, I know that's not proper grammar, but that's how the mouth is moving, so you have to say it like
yeah.
that. Hint
Yeah.
stuff.
Now you got the facial capture. Oh my goodness. There's a puppy.
Dog meat.
Oh, there's a puppy in her purse.
She's got many, many puppies.
There's lots of animals running around here, and dogs too.
Yeah. We had a question from. You know what? I have to apologize, guys. I've been playing this mobile game like this for days.
Is that why you can't
and
see
my
today?
eyes, I'm just realizing for the first time, I can't see that screen. So you have
I
to
can
help
see
me,
it.
Nick.
I can see it.
There are questions.
Yeah.
I can see
Trav,
them.
man, it's not an actual video where you can see me punching and swearing, but you can hear me punching and
Well,
swearing.
Billy
But I will
Mathers-
punch and swear for you anytime.
Billy Mathers has a question that I was thinking.
yeah.
I know it's very vague, somewhat, but I specifically would ask about Fallout 4, just because it would also give us information about the size of the game. But like, how long on average would a voice recording session take?
All voice recording sessions tend to be up to 4 hours. So for Fallout, it was standard.
Like per
We
day,
would-
that's the most you're getting in.
Yeah.
That's the most you're getting out
It's-
of
it's-
vocal cords.
There's definitely,
There's a limit.
A limit. Sure.
and so you get the results go down quite a bit if you go past that. So we would do the way that Fallout did it. We had generally like four out of 5 days. We would work consecutively 4-hour sessions, and we'd have a few weeks off, and then we would come back and do it, which was great because it kept you in the mindset. It's, it's a lot nicer than doing one session here and then, 4 days later, another one and another one. So we got to kind of cluster it, which was helpful and amazing and really great with scheduling. I know there are about 13,000 lines of dialogue for the protagonist in the game. I would assume we probably did. That's how many made it into the game, but it's kind of hard to tell because stuff got tossed and.
Yeah.
But it was 2 years almost to the day, of, I would say probably, God, maybe 50 sessions, 55 sessions.
Wow.
I'm
That's
kind of
colossal.
guessing, but
Yeah, geez.
When you get that couple weeks off or that break, what are you doing in that time? Are you just not talking to anybody because
yeah, that's your
So I
tool.
don't lose my voice.
Silent.
yeah, reading books.
No, I mean, I've been pretty lucky to, work on, it's been a busy year, so I was doing other video game sessions and I'm supposed to talk less now that I bruised my vocal cord actually a couple of weeks ago. And
Ouch.
so I'm supposed to not talk in between.
So it's a good thing we locked you in for a 2-hour chat
Yep.
with people at home.
Yeah, I'm not, it's hard to, I hope my ENT isn't watching, but yeah.
Oh no.
There's been a lot of texting.
Oh, okay.
A lot of
I see.
texting, a lot of writing, a lot of frustrated,
Yeah. Look at my face. Instantly learn sign language,
Yeah.
please. No.
yeah, it was very frustrating. We definitely take talking for granted, I think.
Wow. That's interesting. And that must be terrifying when you detect anything. Oh my gosh. I can only imagine, if you book a big job, you're probably, people who have, colds must
Yeah.
be, the plague
Oh,
to
yeah.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's germaphobe. I have the Purell wipes for the headphones and stuff. We're all mysophobes for
Yeah.
sure. We're always is that a sniffle?
scientific
Get away
term.
from me. I have to leave. I'm going to sit in my car.
We had Roger Craig Smith on the show once.
Biggest I was just about to say, he's the dude who
Oh,
turned me on to the
interesting.
Purell wipes. He would have
He-
been like,
Well, he was on our comic book show, which we do every Wednesday at 9 p.m. PST. And all the hosts there, because we are just talking comic books for 2 hours, with a lot of energy, have, glasses that we use. And one of the hosts accidentally drank from his cup and put it back, hoping he wouldn't notice. But Roger Craig Smith was, you just drank from my cup. I noticed. Sorry. He was like, I can't drink from it now. No disrespect to you guys, but that's one of the things as a voice actor you have to constantly be focused on is who's sick, who may be infectious. Yeah.
Well,
and we're we totally understand. You're the voice of Batman. We totally get it. That's those are some golden chords
It's
right
probably
there.
his cocks. I wouldn't have drank from it either after he drank.
Oh, yeah, and that's my boy.
no,
It's
I
really
have
fun.
I have also accidentally drank from Roger's cup at a party, and he was like, "I'll be right back," and I'm like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Later," I'm like, fresh cup. I'm like,
Went home
we're
and got one.
friends, and he's like, "Not that good of friends, sorry."
Oh no, it's so funny. It's working for him. Oh, you suck at this game.
I
Nick.
suck at fighting. Okay?
It's a hard game.
I suck at the fighting. I'm not good at hitting triangle.
Roger is he's one of the coolest people we've ever met here because we've had him on for a few charity events and he always brings my God, he brings thousands of dollars worth of stuff from his personal collections that he's just willing to give to people at home. So sweet. And so that's the only time he's ever done anything that seemed borderline rude, but not really because you totally understand where it's coming from. But the germ thing is, yep. He'll be like, can't drink from it anymore.
It's a big thing, and you go to conventions and stuff, and you're
Oh, gosh.
shaking hands with a lot of people, and
Yeah.
the thing is you
If
screw
it
up
costs
your
you a
voice,
job.
and you can't you can't work for a month or so. It's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a real long time. Not only is it frustrating, but it is scary. So
Yeah, for sure.
Kurgari remembers when Mercer came in and wore a mask to make sure no other voice actors got sick.
No, that was Ruben
It
Langdon.
was Ruben Langdon.
That was Ruben
Oh.
Langdon. He came in wearing the the Japanese SARS masks that people had, and it was the funniest thing. But he was very conscious because we had a lot of voice actors here that day.
So Alberto wants to know, how long have you been doing this, and how long do you plan on doing
Forever.
voice acting?
Forever and ever. I think
we don't really
did my
retire. We just
first, yeah.
Yeah, do voice actors?
Exactly.
Do
Your
voice actors
vocal cords
retire?
just fall out.
Oh gosh.
No, I mean, like, June Foray, who did Rocky the Flying Squirrel on Rocky and Bullwinkle, she's almost, 100 at this point? She's
Wow.
98, I believe. She's the oldest working actress.
She's still doing it.
Still doing it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Someone
Yeah.
tell her that she doesn't have to. Someone tell
That's
her.
the thing, though.
I,
is you
I don't even
want
think it's
to,
have to
you
at
know,
this point.
it's-
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, she's amazing, and I've been doing this. I booked my first game in 2002, and yeah, I'll do it as long as they'll have me. It is, you know, we're lucky to be able to do this work. It's really fun, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't change a thing.
Now there's a lot of there's a new crop because voice acting now has become a cool, like
An
a
actual
super
thing.
cool job to have, right? Where like the people who are like iconic voices are, you know, here. Like I was joking, but not really, about being gods at conventions. Like people want those pictures with you as if you're like Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt, you know. And so I know a whole crop of youngins. We get them a lot in our chat who want to be voice actors now. Like that's their life goal, right? But they're not necessarily big on working on their craft. You know what I mean? It's not.
Waking
It's
up
not the
before
way.
noon?
Or waking.
nothing.
Like I'll notice that often. Like they'll have like I'll ask them. I'll put them through a line of questioning. Like the greats that we've had on our show certainly will talk about a time throughout their childhood where they just watch cartoons and imitate voices the whole time, you know, and just did it almost as a hobby and realized they could do it as a profession. And they all have similar stories like that where they've always just had like many voices in them that constantly want to come out, and then it became a job. Versus these days, like I feel like a lot of kids are like, I could do that, you know, I've got a fun voice. And they don't, I'm like, have you taken any classes? Have you done any coaching? You know, have you put together a reel? And by and large, so many of them do not know what it takes. Do you have, advice for people who may think that it's something that they can just fall into?
Later. Oh.
Do you, sir?
I mean, my only thing is, you know, when I was at Comic-Con, they said, you know, how do you get to be a Looney Tune? And I'm like, well, ostensibly, the quick answer is I auditioned and I got the part. But, I mean, the amount of networking that I did leading up to it, the amount of people that I met, the people like, the voice director is Charlie Adler, who is this insane, amazing guy who used to be Buster Bunny on Tiny Toon Adventures.
Oh, cool.
Yes.
That's so cool.
And he's been Starscream and all sorts of things.
Right.
You know, I'd known him for years, and you know, and built a relationship with him. I had a good relationship with my agents. I had a good relationship with a bunch of other people that all came together when Warner Brothers was looking for this character. These people were involved and said him. You know, so yeah, I auditioned and I did the voice the right way. And you know, it is about being prepared with your craft and being, you know, when an opportunity comes along, being ready and you know, delivering what they want. But it's also about making sure that you've built the relationships that will get you there, because you know you can play a violin beautifully in a subway for all your life, but
Yeah.
if you
Yeah.
don't actually like hand out a business card now and then,
Yeah.
Or you can know, you
Yeah.
know, and it goes with everything what you're saying in life. It's like you can know everybody on the planet, but
right?
I'm not going to vouch for somebody that I clearly know isn't going to work hard. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like not just the relationships, and if anything, like the more closely you know somebody, the better you have to be in front of them at what you're doing. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
then you're like, oh wait, I really know this. I know this guy doesn't like get up on Tuesdays, you know.
Because
eats
for
too
every
much.
person, for every person that vouches for you, it is them putting their neck out.
Yeah,
that,
exactly.
You know,
Absolutely.
so it's twofold for sure.
And I think, you know, there is that idea that like, oh, it's just about funny voices, or, and I can't say like, honestly, I can't say, oh, maybe the type of voice that I have lends itself to certain castings, and that's been a help to me. But I did go to school. I did take acting classes.
Right.
I still take class. I will, you know, come in to an animation class to try and get better. I still take acting classes if I feel like I'm getting rusty. And it is acting, and it's when you get in the booth and they're throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
Especially now, like the more video games that come out with these cinematic storylines.
Yeah.
It's the real deal. It's not just coming in and doing, military barks, which is it's absolutely its own technique and strength. People are really good at doing those things and get hired over and over to do those particular things. But
Right.
you want to be able to sell that stuff in the booth. And if you don't have whatever technique it is, if it's Meisner or whatever you learned in school,
Right.
You're going to have a real hard time, because it's not like on-camera acting where you're like, take the script, now go home, you get a couple of days to think about it, or if it's a play, you get 6 to 8 weeks to rehearse it.
Right.
They're like, I was in the booth the other day, and they were like, why don't you read the opening monologue? And so it went from me playing a secondary character to being like, oh,
The first voice
okay,
that
well,
people
yeah, it's
hear.
the first voice that you hear.
Wow.
And so you have to be able to sell that stuff, and it is a very cinematic style. And when I think about cinematic style, I think, real big, emotional, grounded acting that really takes you somewhere immediately.
Yeah.
And that's a skill that, not everybody can just roll out of bed and do.
Absolutely.
So.
I certainly take a lot of comfort in knowing that, like, because of your guys' profession, how you could do it for decades, right? Doesn't matter what the outside looks like, you can get to be 100, and if you still have your instruments fine-tuned, you can do
100.
it.
Thank you.
I like that she's like,
No.
you can be 100.
Foray, I know.
Yeah, because you mentioned the squirrel.
Yeah.
I take a lot of comfort in knowing that, like, the people that think it's something that they can just, like, step into and, like, like, I got this, are going to be weeded out because they're still competing with the greats. They're competing with people, and they're going to be competing with them for decades. So
I was at a convention, and they were talking to there was a group of people. I think it was Dave Fenoy was saying. I'm sorry if I misquote him, but he was talking about the whole process about being a voice actor, and go to class and do your demo, and then know that the people that you're watching, that the people you're playing, are the people that you're now going to be auditioning against. Because almost all of us,
are still working.
we're working.
Yeah.
We all audition, and so it's not generally something that you roll out of bed and just go, I think I could beat Troy Baker out for this part.
Yeah,
That's not a
no.
problem. You got some stiff competition. So,
Yeah.
And you gotta love it. Like anything
Yeah.
else in the arts, I think you gotta be really passionate about it.
Absolutely.
to,
And I'm sorry to the audience if that came off at all like I was, I had an axe to grind or something. But, it is certainly, I just noticed from an outside observation point, it is one of those professions that people look at and think, I could do that. Like, so more
It's just talking.
often than not. Yeah, and there's certainly, it's certainly not true. We've had the privilege of,
I could do that.
oh my God.
But I think that's what
Yeah.
the people that we're talking about
Yeah.
are so good at, because usually the things that people go, I could do that, are they're making it look easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody
like Jess Harnell, or
Oh yeah.
like
He's not
you're
working
like,
at all.
it's just you just imitate people. It's no big deal.
Sure.
He's
that
making it
easy.
look easy.
Yeah. Who are your inspirations? I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to dominate. Are you looking at? I can't read it.
I'm reading it.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
good.
I'll jump in when I see somebody worthy. When I see somebody
Oh,
worthy.
Trav, man, good question. Favorite places to visit?
Oh.
Croatia.
What?
I went to
That's
Dubrovnik, where they filmed Game of Thrones. Before they started filming Game of Thrones there.
You were there before it was
Scenic?
cool.
Oh no,
Yeah,
whatever.
before it
I
was
was totally
cool.
shut up before Dinklage, whatever. That place is awesome.
Wow.
That's like a walled city. Like, a lot of that stuff is not CGI because it's so awesome.
Interesting.
I'm
They
glad
don't
it is not
need
CGI.
to. They, like, Dubrovnik
Was
woke
it
up like that.
CGI?
It's awesome.
Was Croatia just CGI?
Yeah, it doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's like Latvia. It's just in the at the head
You
of
get
that.
you get off the plane and it's just green. 'Cause
that,
green's
and
green.
really my favorite
So I-
places are wherever they've filmed Game of Thrones. I did go to north of Belfast, to the Giant's Causeway, where the Iron Islands are now. I'm full Game of Thrones nerd. It's
Nerd.
happening. Where the Iron Islands are shot, that whole storyline, and that was also phenomenal. So really, if you just watch the closing credits of Game of Thrones and use that as your travel itinerary. You cannot go wrong.
I think, Nick, do you watch Game of Thrones?
Yes.
I can't watch it because people are so mean to each other on that show.
So
It is,
great!
it is a cool
love
show,
it.
but sometimes it just makes you appreciate when there is that nice person or there is that gesture,
Yes,
like
you really
that heroic
appreciate
gesture. It's
it.
like, oh, thank God for you.
Where someone doesn't die.
Like Brienne of Tarth. It's always like, thank God for you,
I
Brienne.
know. God bless her.
Yeah.
So
It's like an
noble.
oasis
woman.
in the middle of a sea of
Yeah.
malice.
But she still kicks the crap out of people, so.
But for
But in a-
justice,
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
for the American way.
Her heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
How about you, JP? Any?
Moldunite,
Oh.
sorry, makes the point about voice acting forever.
Forever
That
and
the
ever.
older you get, as everybody dies off. And
Well,
you
I was
outlive
actually
them
going to
all.
say something about that, like with the age difference thing. I mean, there are some actors who are still in their 50s who are still doing the teen kids on
Yeah.
Nickelodeon and stuff like that. Like, it's certainly not the same as on camera where you age out of things very quickly, especially now with HD. You can't.
But you
touch
could
it as
also
well, but-
you can
Yeah.
age into something in voice acting. I'm
Oh, for sure.
And then
Yeah.
you're like, this is mine, because nobody can reach 90 years old.
Yeah.
Take this from
Shoot
me.
for the race, like everybody pump the
Or you
brakes
can
right
just
now.
Yeah.
This is my
smoke.
jam.
You can smoke until you can be 50 and take those 90-year-old roles.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Actually,
Not
I
a
mean,
good
there are a
career
lot of voice
plan.
actors
Yeah.
who have, not so much anymore, but there are voice actors who have smoked, just to
Just to get it.
get the character of their voice,
Oh, interesting.
See, I
You
told
should
you I
be
could
able to,
Yeah.
manipulate your voice to actually.
not
Not
have to
everybody.
use
Without-
I'm not encouraging
without
people to smoke.
Yeah,
I
I
just,
mean-
tobacco and booze to get
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm acting.
Oh gosh.
These are just tools of the trade,
Exactly.
Don't listen to Nick.
Some people are willing.
He's not a voice actor. He doesn't know.
Some people are willing to just go farther,
Right.
Like me.
It's like
Like-
It's all
like-
this whiskey
Like
right
Christian
here.
Bale is willing to lose 150 pounds and
Yeah,
be
that's-
emaciated in a
Surely
movie.
That
Like,
is
smoking
one
That's
thing
healthy.
that I am so happy we don't need to deal with in voice acting. I'm like,
God,
I
yeah.
will sound skinny.
Having to.
But that guy, I saw
he
the
sound
pictures
You
of
look
him
amazing.
on
You're
the
okay.
machinist, and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, geez, he's like he died
was
shortly thereafter.
Crazy town.
Yeah, not having to worry about getting
Being
abs
hungry. Yeah.
like 2 weeks before filming, like Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
He's not gonna
I
get
mean,
his
abs are
back.
still nice. We do live in LA. but,
Well,
you know.
yeah, but they're nice for you and the people you share them with, not with the camera.
Yeah.
Although I would love if I had abs and I was a voice actor. I'd be like, I have to do this shirtless, just because.
I gotta get.
I know
in
a few
character.
directors who would hate that, and a few
And,
directors
and a
would
few
love
that would be like, hell yes.
"Shut the door. We're gonna be here all day."
Who could it be? We don't know.
But how about you, JP? Any places that you want to visit? I didn't want to leave that person who asked the question.
Oh, let's see. All right, recently I went to, this is not nearly as exotic as Croatia, but recently I went to Portland and absolutely loved
That's
it.
about as
Maine
exotic.
or Oregon?
That's
Be
that
specific.
definitely counts.
Oregon. I'm sure Maine is lovely. But no, I'm sure it is. But no, Oregon is awesome. It was a really, really cool
Where
place.
young people go to retire.
Yes, very true. And to have good donuts.
It's very. I've heard legends of how far ahead they are than the rest of the United States in terms of being able to make their city truly green.
Oh, I
it's
thought
Yeah, to
you
make
were
it
out
gonna-
there.
green, to have
Yeah.
safe
I
biking,
thought you were gonna mention
to
the
have
donut
like,
technology.
just all-
Donuts. It's all about donuts.
Yeah.
He did like a really. You went up there just for donuts
I mean, I'm not going to say
Wow.
that's not true.
and chocolate. These were the pictures
I'm
I
a
was getting
foodie.
off this.
I'm an insane
Oh,
foodie.
nice.
And yeah.
Very nice.
And Courtney is to an extent as well. And so we.
If foodie means I like to eat all the time as much as I can, then
Oh
yes,
yeah,
I am.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
a foodie, but I'm not a snob. I mean, am I occasionally in a Wendy's parking lot eating a Frosty and fries? Yes, because it's good.
Hey, you gotta put the
Occasionally.
fries in the frosty, and
I'm
that's
not
how
never
you do it.
understood
See, I'm
that,
not the
yeah.
only one that's done
Oh, it's the salt. It's the salty sweet thing.
It
It's
is,
like
it's
chicken
the
and
best.
waffles.
It's the best.
perfect.
That's the new hotness: chocolate, bacon, anything savory and sweet
Yeah,
mixed
but-
together
but
now.
I'm a big
is-
See,
fan.
we've
I'm a
been
big
doing
bacon
it
person too.
I don't like sweet meat.
I don't like it. I don't like sweet meat.
It freaks me out a little bit. Like the Hawaiian pizza and stuff.
Oh, so good. Yes, Hawaiian pizza.
Honey baked ham?
Yeah, the fruity meat
No?
Yeah, it's
flavorings
so
are not
weird.
very delicious.
People out there,
Not
join
down.
me. Sweet and meat, yes?
Well, you know what's really funny? This,
Salty and sweet.
I love this tangent we're on. We've all discovered that we're foodies.
Everyone's
same
like,
time.
video games? What?
There's
These almonds I had from Trader Joe's.
A
Amazing.
Moroccan restaurant I went to recently. You guys might have experienced this already. Where it's like this big communal loaf, and then you reach into it and you pull it out, and you just take from it. But it's like a pastry with meat in it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's sugar and cinnamon in it as well.
Uh-huh.
I couldn't get on board that.
Oh,
that
yeah.
Sweet meat
That was
situation.
weird. That was
It's
weird
like,
to me.
I mean, to make it, more accessible, it's like pork chops and applesauce.
Kurigari
guess
likes
so.
bacon and peanut butter sandwiches.
That is a
They are the
Whoa.
beep.
or woman.
That sounds
I think you
pretty
have to make that
amazing.
Hannibal Lecter sound after saying sweet meat.
Sweet meat.
Gross.
Maple
don't know.
syrup poured over the eggs. I'm gonna pump the brakes on that situation.
Syrup
Oh, no.
on
As a
everything.
matter of fact, when I
That
make
is-
eggs, I always put like a little bit of cinnamon in them.
I put syrup in
So
the,
much
you
better.
gotta put the syrup
crazy.
in the eggs as you scramble them, and then you just cook it like right there.
Ooh, that is
Stop
wrong.
crazy
Yeah.
town.
Maybe it's a
Amazing.
Y chromosome thing. I don't know.
Maybe.
'cause I can't.
Yes, from the
Sweet
dawn of
meat.
time, cavemen have liked syrup in
Exactly.
their
They're
eggs.
like, "Arr, sweet eggs. Sweet eggs. No.
Yeah, I can't get on board
It's
that
like my
train
favorite.
either.
Eggs are just like the tofu or like chicken. You just put things on them and they taste good.
Can you read what
Cheese.
Tyler is
Cheese.
saying here?
Cheese. You put
I don't
cheese
know
on.
what I'm saying.
What is it?
What is a game that you voice acted for that you most enjoyed besides Fallout 4? That comes
Besides.
from Tyler James.
Besides Fallout 4.
What? Oh, look.
What?
She's living it.
I got.
She's living
I got
it.
Vault Boy nails. What?
Yeah.
Oh wow,
I thought I didn't see the nails at first, so I thought you were.
you were trying to kill her.
Oh, she's
Trying to
like,
kill
I don't
Jen.
know how to
I'm
react
gonna
to
make
this.
you eat the
For
eggs with
ask-
syrup.
me asking that question. I
But
thought
those
Jen
are
was about to
glorious
die.
nails.
Thank you. Thank you very
No,
much.
she is in Fallout mode.
The question was the most fun.
Yeah, the most.
The one you most
fun.
enjoyed.
Side Fallout.
There's a lot. I mean, there were a lot of things that I really liked doing. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines because I got to play like multiple characters. I played a girl named Heather Poe who was like all drugged out and like sort of damsel in distress, and you could make her do whatever you wanted, which is kind of creepy. And then I played like Doris, who was like, it
Of
was,
course, it's Doris.
and
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
the voice
That
fits that
name.
name
And a
perfectly.
character named Damsel who was sort of like a precursor to Jack. She had like Tourette's, and so it was really fun to like jump around with that.
Is that something where you're jumping around talking to yourself too? Like the
No.
characters are. Have you
No,
ever
but it-
had a situation where you're doing a character and then another character where you're actually interacting with yourself?
They try and keep that like.
Really?
That would
They
be
try and
the
keep
That'd
that
be
huge
so much
challenge.
That'd
Come
be so
on.
much fun. Well, no, I'm just
I
saying,
think
like,
it
on
I mean, I would have a party
Request.
doing
on
that.
a
yeah, for
smaller,
sure.
like,
Request,
budget
yeah.
game, when you're doing multiple characters, I imagine that comes up when they don't have money to pay.
No, why would that ever be more efficient than doing them separate?
I would just
Usually
have
the
one
way it
person
is
do
it's
every
just,
voice.
It's a giant spreadsheet of lines that are disconnected, and you
I
just
would-
plow
If I
through
was,
them.
I'm just
and
saying,
then-
if I was making a game, I would hire one person to do all the voices, and then I save so much money.
Yeah, but then everyone would hate you because all the voices would sound the same, and then people
I hire
would
really-
destroy you on the boards.
I
So-
hire
Yeah.
a really good guy.
Not to mention, you would have recorded for 10 days straight and have no voice at the end of
I'll
it.
just,
Exactly.
I'll just end up doing all the voices to myself. And it'll be
I
amazing.
also I liked doing it'll come to me. I can't remember the title. I've played who was the character, the Marla Bales character?
Oh, this is Marla Bales from.
Oh, just give
Was it
the
left-
chat. Just like they're
Oh,
only a couple seconds behind us.
wasn't
Hold on, I gotta
Resident-
look
wasn't
it up on
Resident.
They'll find it.
I loved the character. I played this crazy like Nancy Grace reporter, and that was super fun.
Nice.
I like playing like nutty, kind of like the priestess in Fallout, in Final
Lighting
Fantasy.
routines.
Those characters are fun. I like those like sort of cameo characters that are really wackadoodle. And Jack was great. Biotics. Tourette's, no impulse control.
Yeah.
What more could a girl ask for, really?
Sure, sounds
Great
like heaven.
haircut and a belt bra. So
Yeah. Sure.
AC/DC
sound
does
great.
not suck. Come on, early AC/DC. I'm gonna say new AC/DC, not my fave, but anything like before, well, anything with Bon Scott is awesome.
Yeah.
I mean,
AC/DC doesn't suck. They're still touring, and I hear that they're.
I just
one-
went. So
they're-
this is actually I took my nephew to his first concert.
and it was AC/DC. Wow,
That's right.
that's the
We're
best.
getting him off on the right foot.
That's exactly.
I mean,
Nice.
because
This
now
is- this is his
everything,
formative,
everything's
Straight
just gonna
Twisted.
look
What
less.
would you have me take him to? Jack Johnson.
Straight
What?
Twisted is gonna say Hannah Montana.
Oh, come on.
It's like
I will say I'm a fan of old AC/DC, so everyone just calm down. They are just in it for the money now.
I think everyone gets to. You know what? They've earned it. They
feel
can
like they have
can
enough
sell out
money.
if they want to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not.
I think they're playing because
Paycheck
they
to
can.
paycheck.
I don't think they need the money anymore or anything. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It's
feel
one
like
of those things that it's like
they're
it's what you
still
love to do.
Yeah,
and, you
like
know.
they've been doing it since they're 16 or whatever. So
And I always think of
Yeah.
like Charles Schultz or Andy Rooney, who like retired and then within 2 weeks they were dead. I'm like,
Oh God.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Let 'em
I'd
do.
rather just stay with what I love than retire and be like, so
yeah,
now,
like the
So
Don,
now I
like
go-
the
I'm in a
Don
garden.
Rickles
Yeah.
of the world.
know?
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
Don Rickles stops doing stand-up, it's like we worry for
He'll
him
die.
because like, what's
Yeah.
he gonna do?
Yeah.
And you
You
gotta
get out
give
there.
the legends like the room to do what they want at a certain point. And they don't have to. I mean, like I used to. So I was really into David Bowie. Still am. I haven't bought his last 2 albums, but I'm sure they're different than the David Bowie I know from back in the 70s.
They are a little different.
But but I remember he had done like a bless you. It was like a was he an Abercrombie ad or something? It was or Gap. He was in an ad.
I think a Gap ad, yeah.
With Iman, right? They're beautiful people, of course. But people went crazy. They were like, "Oh, remember when he used to be against commercialism and he's totally a sell?" I'm like, the guy's like 70 years old now. He could do what he wants. You know, let him
But,
do a
like-
Gap ad. It's fine.
Much like
Yeah.
making the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that people think ruined the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle cartoon. It's like
Oh,
that
okay.
cartoon still exists.
right.
yeah,
Like it's not
It's
bad
fine.
now. The cartoon sucks because somebody made like new thing. Like all of Bowie's stuff is still great.
Yeah.
AC/DC still you can still listen to whatever
And the
you
stuff
want.
that
and
we thought, I mean, I'm sure that somebody that saw David Bowie in like 1975,
it'd be magical.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
went and saw if they were like, let's dance, really, you know, like it's just what you know.
Yeah, you're right.
know.
They would have reacted poorly to Let's Dance.
Yeah.
I think they did.
It doesn't mean
Yeah.
that any of,
I
you
like
know,
Let's Dance.
it's still good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still good.
Yeah, guys, come on.
Yeah.
So, Straight
Ah, here it
Twisted,
is.
shut up. No, just kidding.
No.
So
We're glad you're watching.
Straight Twisted.
Straight Twisted out. Oh.
Oh no, bye,
Aw.
Straight Twisted.
Oh no, we've
Oh,
scared more.
Kuragari says, I don't think Eddie Rooney died because he
Oh.
retired.
Oh, yeah. I don't think it was. I don't know if there's a correlation.
Yeah,
but it's
it's-
just, it's.
I don't know. I saw on the.
Who was,
Never-
what about Louis Vuitton? What?
I think it was a Louis Vuitton ad. For,
Oh,
It was a
thank
Louis
you.
Vuitton.
Oh, David
ad.
Bowie
Louis
did a
Vuitton?
Louis Vuitton ad? What?
Stat Boy Doc.
That's okay.
Yeah,
Everybody.
that's okay.
Sean Penn did a Louis Vuitton ad. I mean,
Yes, that's not selling out. I'm sure they paid
Brad Pitt has
handsomely.
his own jeans in a small European country.
oh, I was gonna say in a small size.
No,
It's small.
he's only
Very
allowed.
petite.
He's only allowed. They're only allowed to sell the jeans within a 20-mile radius physically, and not allowed to ship them anywhere else. And they say Brad Pitt jeans.
Oh, I'm going on eBay right
And he
now.
got
I know, right?
he
You'll
got
find
$30 million for them to be able to put Brad Pitt jeans on the jeans. But like I said, they can't sell them anywhere else
It's just gonna
at
make
all. You can't.
Somebody check eBay
'cause
right
if
now.
somebody
my people
had
have
Brad-
already made knockoffs. I
Exactly.
guarantee you. I have some in my trunk right now.
Totally. I'm
I
gonna go to
will-
Canal Street in New York and just be like, "Who's got the Brad Pitt jeans? Come on, come on, come on, come on."
Did they just
They're-
say Brad Pitt jeans? So, anyways, what I'm saying is
Yeah.
like you don't need to be old
To sell out.
to sell out,
That's a good message.
oh yeah, no.
and there's never too much money to have to sell out because he's got it all.
Were there any voice?
he's sold out.
Were there any voices that you've done? Speaking of selling out, I don't know why that's a good segue. It's not. Were there any voice jobs that you did
What?
where?
Where's- Yeah, go ahead.
It's a terrible
Were you
segue.
sold out? You sold
Speaking
You
of
felt you
sold out.
compromised your morals and
You
ethics.
Yeah.
sold the products
Were there
that
any-
you were just like, ugh.
Were there any jobs that you've done where you're just like, this is not going to be one that I want to tell people about? Like any voice jobs? I don't know if there are like voices.
I can say this just because it's, they don't so much exist anymore. There was an app that I used to do a voice for a long time ago, and I don't even know if it exists anymore, but it was like, I don't know, this weird kids app, and for like the iPhone. It was like, Justin Bieber got a thorn in his thumb, and you have to go and play doctor and pick it out from it. I'm like,
That's the quest.
this is so
That's
strange.
awesome.
This
Were
is
you like,
horrible.
it's only up from here?
Yeah.
I'm only going to get better.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, where else are you going to go?
Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah.
So it works out. You stuck with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Roger Craig Smith owns like every role he ever he likes to brag that he's the say yes to the dress guy, and that he used to do the 5 pizzas for $5 or something.
Yeah, those aren't, I mean,
Before being Batman.
yeah, the great thing about VO is that there's, I mean, I was the voice of Caesar dog food for like 10 years. All the little white dog, in the car, in the pink car, driving down the street and stuff. I mean, those are all super, like, that's
They're
how
fun.
Yeah,
They're
that's
like-
how we pay our rent. Those are all great.
Yeah.
But I did do, I won't say the name of it, but I did do a commercial for, my mom had been really sick and she had gone to a specific healthcare facility and had not had a good experience in that
Oh.
she almost died.
Oh,
And
that's the worst experience you could possibly have.
I did an audition for that healthcare facility, and I did it as badly as I possibly could, and I got hired
Oh no.
for the commercial.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I came, I went to my mom's house and I said like, Mom, I have to tell you something. I feel so bad. I'm like, I couldn't say, you don't want to say no
Yeah.
to doing. I say no to certain things, but my mother's a very pish posh English woman, and I said, I booked this commercial for such and such, and she looked at me and went, they better pay you a fuckload of money. and I actually ended up donating it to. I took the money that I got for that. It ran for about a year, and I donated it to Best Friends Animal Shelter because I was
yay.
like,
Oh, sweet.
The yucky money.
the
yucky money.
No.
The yucky money went to puppies.
Yay.
So there's definitely like stuff like I auditioned for something where it was a beer commercial where they were 2 girls were considering having a 3-way with somebody because he was drinking a particular brand of beer, and I was like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm like,
It's too real for you.
Yeah,
That's a real life situation that
totally.
That
I mean,
happens
it's very
yeah.
difficult to nail.
It's yeah.
No,
Happens to
oh
me
my
all
gosh.
the time because my Coors Light choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one I was
Yeah.
like,
Get approached all the time.
Yeah, no.
but yeah. I like all the roles, even
Kuragari-
the sticker ones.
Kuragari wants to hear Wile E. Coyote place an order with Acme, but he just uses a laptop, so you just hear clicking. 'Cause it's
Yeah,
not-
I mean, at this point, it is all online.
yeah, it just sounds like
But
your
what would he
keyboard.
say? Here, I'll be the operator at Acme.
We're putting him on.
Look what you did,
All right,
Kuragari.
we'll have an improv. Go ahead.
Thank you for calling Acme Services and Products. What would you like to order?
Hello, this is Wile E. Coyote. Wile E. Coyote. I don't know if you were aware, but your website is not functioning currently.
Excuse me, what?
Your website on the World Wide Web is not functioning.
What is the World Wide Web?
It's the internet!
Oh, sir, you're right in my ear. I'm sorry, this is, hang on. Bad connect. Okay, you were saying? Sorry.
Madam, I am attempting to purchase a state-of-the-art rocket-powered catapult, and I can't do it if your website is not functioning.
I'm gonna have to transfer you over to IT. Can
No,
you
I've been
hold-
on
can
3
you
transfers already. No.
There you go, Kuragari.
There you go, just for you.
You got
That's
it.
amazing.
You're welcome.
See, I haven't watched Wabbit yet, but that's a really cool choice for a Wile E. Coyote voice.
Thank you.
Because he would be. He would totally
Pompous.
be.
Yes.
Yes,
Kind of.
pompous
Frasier
and-
type.
A
Yeah,
Frasier
like-
type.
I mean, the big difference in this Wile E. Coyote versus the one that we know is that his hunger. I mean, he's not trying to get food. You know, there isn't a roadrunner so far, and he's not really trying to eat bugs. It's more just feeding his ego.
Huh.
So everything that he does is all about just making himself feel more important. And
He's a 21st century Kardashian kind of
Oh my God.
Wile E. Coyote.
Well, there was a line. There's
Sorry,
a line in one of the
Kardashians.
shorts that I think it just epitomizes who he is. And he's like, "I have several degrees from many prestigious. I have several degrees from prestigious online universities."
He's
See, so he
drunk
does
cubby.
use
Yeah.
the internet.
That's
Yes,
amazing.
he does.
That's such a cool aspect of him to explore, because obviously he's got some tech savvy from so that to make him like a Frasier type.
Yeah, he would
So
evolve
cool.
with the time. So we have about a minute and 45 seconds.
Oh wow,
left
it's gone
in
so fast.
Today's broadcast. Where can we watch Wabbit?
It is on Cartoon Network every Thursday at 5 o'clock. I think it's also on Boomerang as well.
Yes, it's on Boomerang.
I was going to say check your local listings, but I don't think anybody says that anymore.
I don't think we have.
Hold on,
there's-
let me
it's
check my
national.
TV
Check the World Wide Web.
Exactly. Just you guys can Google that, and you are at JP Karliak
Liak.
Correct.
on
Karliak.
Twitter.
Karliak, cool. And Courtney,
Yes.
people can follow you at you have two places you were mentioning, Twitter and Instagram.
Yes, I am at Courteny Taylor on Twitter, and it's spelled Courtenay, Courtenay, not Ney. If you go to Ney, you will have a different experience. Ney is an adult
I
model.
hear.
Oh,
And at Courtney Taylor LA on Instagram. I mean, it really depends. You could go to both.
I've been
sure.
saying Courtenay like all week since we've been, having you come in. So I try.
It's-
I never typo it on like the graphics
Courtenay.
or in any of the copy. I'm like Courtenay.
Yes.
Every time I type it, I'm like Courtenay.
Well, if you do
So you guys
typo
do the
it,
same.
you're going to get an eyeball full of stuff you weren't expecting.
our entire audience is
Yeah.
Googling it right
They-
now.
I know,
They
everyone's
just
like-
left the
She's like,
broadcast.
I got 8 million hits.
They left the
This is
broadcast
insane.
30 seconds early.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us. It was an
for
honor
having
to
me.
have actors of such caliber on our program. It doesn't happen often, and we always treasure when it does. Stick around, guys. We have more show. We have Heroes of the Storm with the Mystics.
Yep, Mystics.
Yep.
That means more Jen. Bye, everybody.
Twin Galaxies.